All right. What is going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. My apologies for running behind, doing some taking my dog out, got lost track of time, blah, blah, blah. We are here to talk about the latest episode of True Detective, Night Country, episode 4. Before we even get things going, I had some technical issues. So if everyone's here, which by the way, we got 35 people watching live, put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me okay, because I don't know if my connection is completely connected as I got my guests in the back room, but which, by the way, spoiler alert, we will be having some guests joining us talking about this episode. But again, want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. Okay, we got some ones in the chat. Awesome. So from the top, again, thank you guys for joining us for this after show. For again, we're talking Night Country, True Detective, episode 4. And as I do in my breakdowns, I have these episode names, right? It's obviously Christmas themed. So I don't know, Night Country, A Hell of a Christmas, A Bloody Christmas, A Deadly Christmas. We'll come up with a better title somewhere down the line. But before we get into tonight's fun activities and discussions, and I have this cool game I want to play with my guests as well as all you guys watching live on the replay. Hit the thumbs up, y'all. If you are not only enjoying this show, but if you're enjoying these conversations, if you're having a good time, make sure you hit the thumbs up, but also leave your thoughts in the live chat. This is why we're doing this live, to have these fun interactive discussions, theories, throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks, and hopefully we'll find out what's true, what's not true, if these people are dead or alive, having all those discussions in the live chat. So definitely leave them there, and of course on the replay. And more importantly, y'all, as I kind of briefly mentioned, we got some special guests. One that's been on the channel before, and two that I'm familiar with, having been able to interact with them. I wasn't even able to talk to them behind the stage, but they are making their way to the channel for the first time, and hopefully, we can see them again. But let me bring in the person that you guys have seen before, and that is Nine from NINENERDYARD. What's going on, man?
Sorry, I was on mute. But how you doing?
Damn, my speakers ain't What's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man. It's been a while, but I'm so glad that you're covering this live. It's such a intriguing show.
Yeah, man. What was it? Was the Idol first, or was it Succession? I can't remember the order. The last time we collabed,
was that around the same time? It was one of those.
Right around that, yeah. I mean, we can never forget the Idol, right? Tedros is everyone's idol. But Nine, man, it's been a minute. This is everyone's first time maybe coming across you and your commentary on your channel. Why don't you introduce yourself, man?
NINENERDYARDS on YouTube. I do a lot of breakdowns of TV shows and movies. Recently had like this big ass Atlanta iceberg video that we dropped on the channel. So yeah, if you would like any of that content, go and check me out. That's NINENERDYARDS.
Yes, sir. And speaking of Atlanta, Nine, have you gotten, I know we're both fans of Atlanta. We're both fans of Donald Glover. Have you gotten a chance to check out Prime Video's Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I am currently 4 episodes in, and we will actually be talking about that on the other channel, Nerds at Night, tomorrow. So if you guys are into that, go and join us tomorrow.
I'm gonna tune into that one because I'm very I covered it on the channel here, and spoiler alert, I very much enjoyed the show.
You finished it, right?
Yeah. I finished, and you say you're on episode 3 or 4, so yeah, you're getting into the groove of when I thought the season was really kind of finding itself. But when you get to episode 6, that's my favorite episode of the entire series. It's fire.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
It's a good show, man. It's a good show. Hopefully, Donald Glover, can continue to deliver some great shows, and maybe he'll do his own spy show, or not spy show, but his own kind of murder mystery at some point.
Absolutely.
That'd be dope. But Nine, like I said, man, I'm so glad to have you on. But you told me that 2 gentlemen would like to join the discussion. 2 people that I'm familiar with, haven't gotten able to chop it up with them yet, but I'm excited to have them on, man. We got the 2, I believe, the brothers, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 brothers joining us tonight to talk about Night Country. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up?
Thanks for having us on MovieFiles.
Yeah, thank you. Course, we are, in fact, brothers. We're just 2 brothers.
We're also black, too.
There you go. We are black. It's a Black History Month. We got a panel of brothers tonight.
Thanks for having us on, man. Excited to talk about the show.
I'm excited to talk to you guys as well. And introducing yourself to the audience, man. Why don't you let people know who you are and when they can find you guys' content?
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. You guys can find us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel called the Drunk Banthas, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and all the popular art that we love. And also we do it drunk.
Mostly.
And you can find us on YouTube. We do a podcast every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And Nine is usually there hanging out with us as well. We're going to be talking about Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like you mentioned earlier. So yeah, come check us out.
And Halo,
Halo
as well.
Oh yeah, Halo's coming out soon.
Nice.
Can't wait to talk about that when it drops
every Monday.
Yeah, every Monday.
Well, listen, you guys are speaking my language. When you say horror, my ears perked up, right? Obviously, we're going to be talking about this show tonight, but quickly before we get into the discussion, we talked to Nine about, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and you guys mentioned horror. For both of you guys, what are your top horror films that you're looking forward to this year?
Man. This year? I haven't looked at the rundown.
I am looking forward to Annabelle. I'm a really big fan of those directors because I love Ready or Not.
Yep.
And I liked what they did with the Scream movies. So I'm really excited to see them tackle that idea.
I am ready to watch that while he's watching it. I will watch it. We live together, so I will watch it while I'm washing the dishes and he's watching it. I will watch it that way.
There you go, man. Yeah, there's some good stuff. That film, Nosferatu, is coming out this December for all the Robert Eggers fans out there. So it's looking to be a good year. Yeah. I'm looking forward. Of course, Vaccine. Bill Skarsgård. We talked about the Idol earlier. Lily Rose Depp is going to be in the film. Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe. Like it's a Robert Eggers special, so it's going to be something to find out. Very much excited for it. But speaking of horror and speaking of HBO, gentlemen, we are here to talk about Night Country. And I know you guys covered it on your channel before, but tossing it to you first, Nine. Just general impressions before we get into tonight's episode. How have you been enjoying this show so far, and were you a fan prior to the show as far as like season 1, 2, and 3?
Right. Yeah. I'm actually really liking this season. I know that a lot of people are giving it a little bit pushback because it has these like more supernatural elements, but I'm enjoying that. And especially this episode, since we got they leaned into it. We got some spooks, we got some jump scares, and then I was a really big fan. I think like the GOAT season is obviously season 1 where it all started, probably one of like the best seasons of television, like in the top 10 or whatever. But yeah, for this one, I think Jodie Foster is putting her foot in it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. You guys at the bottom, man, let us know what was your anticipation, I guess, kind of switch it up going into this show. Were you a fan of the show, and how have you guys been enjoying this show so far?
I mean, I definitely loved the first season of True Detective. Been a fan of the show for a while. But I had middle road expectations for this new season because I was like, okay, it could be good, it could be bad. We've seen good seasons from this show. We've seen
bad one bad season from this show, in our opinion.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people who like that season.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that season's horrible, but I had low expectations really on this with it just being like a whole new group of people working on it, but I'm digging it so far. Like I really enjoyed what they've done with it, and I like the split between the supernatural and realistic vibes. I feel like it's gonna be like a really good Scooby-Doo episode where like you think there's supernatural stuff going on, but then at the end it's like, oh no, it's Professor Hyde White.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I feel kind of similar, but not. Like I had low expectations, but just because I knew that this was going to be a great season, when I saw the trailer, I knew immediately it was connected to the first season. And I think Nine showed us the trailer first, like when it first came out. Like, so yeah. And as far as it being like connected to supernatural things and people being mad about that, I mean, we forget that Rust saw like a portal form while being stabbed by the main character, not the main character, but the main villain in that season. And also like when he's looking at the crows flying around when him and Woody Harrelson's character, they're like sitting outside and the crows are forming the same spiral.
Yeah.
So I mean, there were supernatural elements in the first season. I just think some people may have missed it because they keep it bogged down in such practicality. So this year has been similar to me, but I guess yes, they have pushed more to that supernatural. vibe.
Which I'm feeling. Again, being a fan of horror, I
Same.
love, the things that go bumping in the night, makes you wonder what's real and what's not. And like you guys said, yeah, it was hinted at, not hinted, but it was very much implied that there was some supernatural elements with season 1 and even season 3. But this season has definitely, with Issa López having a background in horror, she's really leaned into that, which to me kind of separates this and kind of puts it in its own lane. Of course, we have those connections with Russ and his father Travis, which was revealed in episode 2 in the Spiral. But I'm really liking the supernatural. But like Nine said, I know that there's a lot of people that are a little bit pushing back on the supernatural elements and not liking where the show's headed. But as we'll talk about later, we're going to play a fun little game later as far as, what's real, what's fake, what's supernatural, what's spiritual, what's grounded in reality. So that's going to be really a lot of fun. But opening up this episode, I want to start with you, Nan. We see Liz, first off, I think it was alluded to or seen in episode 2 or 3 that she listens to like white noise to like kind of concentrate and focus. And she does that when she's trying to go to bed. But the Annie K of it all, and relating it to Annie K, how she's starting to care a little bit more about that case, but also relating that to Leah. Leah sleeps, she goes in her room, she checks on her, and there's a little sentimental moment. But every time we see Leah and Liz interacting when they're awake, it's nothing but like, pushback on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious now, how are you interpreting Liz's parenting skills when she clearly means well? She's trying to be a good mom, but she's always, not the best when it comes to Leah. So what have you kind of taken in with this relationship?
There's like I don't know, because we haven't had that full reveal of what happened in their past yet, right?
Right.
But Jodie Foster's playing it in a way that I feel like she has this native child, but she seems to also be kind of like racist. So I don't know what type of catch-22 that she's in.
She reminds me of my father.
Okay. We'll unpack that later.
We'll have a therapy session about
that. There's something that happened in her past that is making it so she can't connect to anybody really, other than a physical relationship with everybody in town, which I'm pretty sure her daughter is completely aware of as well. And when we were looking, I mean, even one of the last episodes when they were talking, when she was talking to Navarro about, like, what do you do to relax or when you're lonely? And Navarro's like, I listen to God, I try to talk to God. And Liz is like, I go on Tinder. But like obviously she has some type of issue forming any type of emotional connection with all these people.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And tossing it to you guys, your interpretation of kind of the relationship between Liz and her, I guess, stepdaughter. It hasn't really been, like Nan said, hasn't been revealed. There was a mention of her ex-husband by the name of Jake, and it's alluded to that her son Holden was maybe in an accident involving a polar bear or a car accident. But the whole Leah relationship seems to be fractured. In my connection, it has been kind of she sees Leah and Annie K, and she doesn't want Leah to end up down that path as Annie K, which is obviously being brutally murdered for standing up for the indigenous people of the town. But have you guys been taken in this relationship, and what do you think the pushback is of Liz not really connecting with her daughter and not really allowing her to maybe fully embrace her heritage?
I don't know how he feels about it, but I feel like you're absolutely right. You're the first person I heard make that connection about how she sees Annie in Leah and she's trying to protect her. And in this episode, I think we got a real clear example of that, because Leah, what do you call it? Vandalizes the hockey rink, or what was that place? The mining office. It was the mining office. Yeah. It was the mining office. So she vandalizes it, and Leah is not privy to the conversation, but she sticks up for Leah. She keeps Leah from going to jail. Yeah. So she clearly cares about her. She clearly is looking out for her. So I think like what you just pointed out about Annie in relation to Leah, as far as Liz is concerned, that is a great example of what you're talking about. But I just think that Liz, first of all, I personally experienced this in my life, not too long ago. But when you suffer a loss, you go crazy. Sometimes some people go crazy on the sex, man. The cheeks. You got to slap cheeks sometimes. Some people go crazy on that because emotionally, like, people have trauma, and sometimes emotionally, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it in, get wore out.
Yeah. Sometimes
shake the covers.
In the face of mortality. Yeah, you just want to do that.
Right. How did you feel though? Because we actually haven't even talked about that. That's a very
we just
very good question.
No, I definitely feel that similarities. You even said when we were watching the episode, there's like they really cast somebody who looked for Leah. They really cast somebody who looked like Annie, and you can really see how she sees her daughter. And
I actually said I wish they hadn't cast, because now I can't tell the difference. I wasn't. He's trying to make me look better, but.
But no, like I when you said that, I was like, oh, they did cast them very similar. I think that was intentional, but I didn't say anything because I was like, let me just watch. But I really, and it's interesting how Danvers always refers to her, even when she's not around. It's like, that's my kid. It's like she always refers to Leah as her kid. So there's obviously some love there, but also, some racism in there for sure too. It just feels a little weird. Like when she was talking to the grandma in one of the other episodes, like
laundromat grandma.
That's what I meant.
Respect the culture.
That's what I said about. That's why I said he reminded me of our dad,
right? Because he's sweet, but he's a little bit racist,
right? Yeah, just a little bit. Just not that we don't share the same views. He just, just a little bit. He just say that one thing, and you'd be like, oh.
And I heard that Danvers, what's it called? Jodie Foster asked for her character to be like more of an asshole. Like,
I saw it.
Oh, okay. So she wanted to go there with it.
Yeah, which is cool.
Okay.
When you are an older actor and you establish like that, you can just tell them what you're gonna do. That's great. I'm glad. I'm glad because if they didn't want to go that way, I'm glad that they did.
Have you guys seen her Oscar nomination movie?
I have not seen.
I haven't. No.
Naiad.
Naiad. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for me, behind me here, I don't know if y'all can see it. I got like a bunch of Netflix rusting, and so to answer your question, yes, I've seen it. I saw a bunch of award-winning movies.
Is it good? Is it good? How do you feel about that?
It's a good, true. Well, if you look up some of the stuff, some of the true story isn't maybe as factual as the movie alludes to, but she's great in it as Jodie. I mean, she's been acting since she was a kid, working with Martin Scorsese and so many legends. So, but no, I think she's deservedly so of the Oscar recognition she's gotten. She's great. I think Jodie Foster, and that's why I was going back to my initial question about being excited about the show. Having her being back in a crime, thriller, last time she was in it was one of the best films with, Silence of the Lambs. So I think she's great. I think she's killing it.
I think you're the only person I know that has watched that movie. I don't know.
It's a decent movie.
I've seen the movie. What are you talking about?
There you go.
Silence of the Lambs?
No, I think you're talking about Naiad.
Oh, Naiad. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, I did not know it existed until it got 2 nominations. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Yeah, there was a Jodie Foster movie.
She's having a great year. She's having a great year.
Comeback.
And looks great at 60 something. Looks great.
I couldn't agree more. Agree more. But I guess kind of sticking to the theme of Jodie Foster's character and seeing her again, we know she kind of plays tough exterior, but she might be a softie inside. Did it surprise y'all when she was so kind to Jules in the middle of the street very early in the episode? We see Jules having a bit of a meltdown, as we've kind of heard about, but we actually see it in this episode. What did you guys think about kind of Liz taking the time? She found out that Connolly's here to take the bodies to Anchorage, and obviously she wants to figure out this case, but she took a moment to pause and say, let me focus and help her out during this time. Were you guys surprised that, again, a little bit of racism, a little bit of tension between her and some of the indigenous people in the community, but she took the time to pause and help Jules out in a moment of crisis? What did you guys think about that? Did it surprise you?
I thought it was a cool moment. It didn't really surprise me, but I thought it was a nice character moment because we've seen her deal with like other drunken people in the similar situation, and she's very much an asshole. But she was very kind, and I think it was like a very vulnerable moment for her, where we get to see that she very much cares for or has sympathy for people who are dealing with mental health issues, and women specifically. So I thought this was a really cool scene.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool scene because, like we were speaking about earlier, I think that she's way more caring than she's putting on, but also she might be putting on the exact amount of caring that a cop can come across as putting caring out there, right? Like cops are assholes, right? So if you take that into account, there are no good cops in this town, as we had established in this whole state, apparently, because as we had established by what's his name, the dude that she's smashing cheeks with.
Oh yeah, fucking
what's his name, the
Doctor Who,
The
Dale.
guy from Anchorage?
Captain Conley.
Captain Conley.
Yeah.
So Captain Conley says, like, hey, you used to always tell people they don't know what they doing, that they bad at their job. She's like, they were bad at their job. So that just shows you that she's really the only cop around, and this is how cops really act. So maybe people really don't like her in her, in that town, the small community that's tight, and they all, let everything go every once in a while. Maybe she's the real cop, and people just don't like that. She's, to me, that's what she seems like.
Been there either.
Yeah, that's a question that's kind of been, because as you just alluded to, Conley's transferred over there, but she wasn't there when Annie died. So, and we know that was 6-7 years ago. So she's probably 5 years captain of this small town. So alluding to your point, she's new blood, right? She has different ways. I think Hank was the chief before her. So Hank, and we know Hank isn't the best at his job. So she might be more, has more, sticks to the books and follows by the book. So people, as you was just getting to, maybe people don't like that she's actually doing her job.
I think that's what it is. It's just bad. Like, I feel I don't like you because you be telling me not to do the stuff that I like to do.
Very true. What about you, man? What did you think about?
I was a little bit confused by that thing, just because I guess I don't know if I may have missed it, or maybe they could have focused on it a little bit more in other episodes. But I was a little bit confused that she was going through that psychological break, because I was just under the impression that she had a little bit of problems, but she's just like putting up being the bartender in this small town, right? She was the bartender.
Yeah, she works at the Cavik's bar. Yeah.
So
she's a waitress.
I didn't know that she was going through such an intense reaction or issues. So I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
That's a good point. And plus, we didn't know what triggered it, right? You would imagine that we would have got a scene that maybe she saw a dead person or saw something that would have triggered it. So we didn't to jump right into that was very interesting. And again, I'm gonna save the game for a little bit later, but we'll talk about what she saw and what she's seeing and other characters seeing, if it's real or not. But yeah, spoiler alert, we're obviously talking spoilers. She dies later in this episode, so we don't know exactly what else, issues she could have came across.
Yeah, the only thing that we do know is that her mom had issues. They explained that. And that they explained, I think it's the first episode, Navarro tells her sister, Evangeline tells her sister, hey, you're not going to turn out like mom. Like mom, So we kind of get little breadcrumbs that to believe might have some mental issues. Oh, and Rose said, don't mistake traditions for mental illness. So we had little breadcrumbs, but we haven't had anything like this, like get butt naked in the snow type thing.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about that scene a little later. But before we transition to more of this conversation, which again, I appreciate my guests being here. By the time this video is fully uploaded, both of their information, so channels will be found in the description of this video. But for all 66 of y'all watching, I know it's Grammys night. Everyone's got their work week starting tomorrow. I appreciate y'all being here with us. If you're having a good time, hit the thumbs up, share, continue to. I'm gonna try to get to the comments as often as I can. So guys, put your theories, your comments, your thoughts on our commentary in the live chat, and of course, those doing the replay, watching the replay, if you could do the same, I would greatly appreciate it. But cut it over to, so we briefly talked about Connolly. I'm curious on how you guys feel about him, because when I first saw him, obviously when you see a captain in these type of stories, first thing that comes to mind, especially in True Detective, we've seen that there's corruption, especially, season 2, not the greatest, but that season, one of the things they did shine a light on was the corruption within the police force in that story. Starting with you, Nine. I was always suspicious of Conley being like maybe in the pocket of I believe her name is Kate. Kate's the woman we met in episode 2 who runs the rink, who runs the mines, and her families might have some connections to the Tuttle company from season 1. So I'm thinking that he was maybe in the pocket of her. But this scene, he's talking to Liz, and he's like, I'm not taking you off the case. Relax. I'm here to support you. I'm starting to kind of back off on my idea that he might be corrupt or might be in the pocket of these people that run in town. But what do you think about Conley and in particular the relationship between him and Liz? Can he be someone we can trust?
Yeah, I am still on the fence with him because he can definitely still like turn heel pretty quick and be corrupt. Especially since we know that he is running for some type of political office as well.
So, this episode. Good point. Yeah,
and a lot of the themes that this is going on, like the cops in this are very much concerned about the livelihood of everybody in town, as if it's only regarding the mining situation. So they aren't really going to be putting the indigenous efforts in the forefront if it's going to harm anything that's going on with the mining company. So I'm not sure if he is playing some type of long game, going to be staying in town just to oversee that it doesn't get too crazy, because that's kind of like the first thing that he mentioned about, like, we got all of these protests along with everything that he said, like, Liz is dealing with. But for right now, I'm going to put him in that midsection. But yeah, you're right that he did shift a little bit. The needle did turn just to not so nefarious, but probably right in the gray area.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm glad you brought up the point of the mayor thing, because maybe he was clean and not corrupt, but now this mayor angle, and we'll see, what comes in next week. But what about you two? What do you guys think about Conley? Can you trust him? Can you not trust him? Is he someone that's on Team Liz?
Can't trust him, man. He's an overseer. You heard what he said? Overseer. Officer. I'm trying to tell you. Look, so no, Alex, you go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah, I feel the same way. I still feel like he's untrustworthy. I feel like even just the political aspect, just even more points to like the idea that he's just like probably up to no good. And he, like in earlier episodes, he just like laid it on way too thick to be trying to be connected to this case that seems like it shouldn't be really any of his business. Like why? Like I feel like he's trying too hard to be close to this case. And I think that's gonna.
It's like wife and kids.
He does. He got a whole family, but he might have. But let me look. Let's just point it out. This is the middle of nowhere, Alaska. He could have 4 families. You wouldn't. Ain't nobody going all the way out to East Boga or god doggone what's
Ennis?
South Pole, Ennis. They got Ileana. There's a Ileana, Alaska. Yeah. Like there's all kind of cities that's all spread out. So yeah, there's nothing saying how many families this guy's got, but he is putting it on a little too thick. He's like the guy who keeps saying he don't like that girl, but he be around that girl all the time. He always trying to sit next to that girl. He too close to this case. Yeah. And he reminds me of the Senator Tuttle, or was it Congressman Tuttle in this season 1?
Season 1,
he's way too close to it, but also distant. And for me, I don't know how you felt in season 1, but for me, I was like completely unaware that the Tuttles would have been involved. You know what I mean? Right, until a certain point, it didn't really. That was a surprise for me. You know what I'm saying? That was a great reveal for me. So with this one, I think that they're going to do something similar, and I don't think there's anything saying that Hank's not related to old dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like these kind of things happen in small towns. Yeah. We from Alabama, we know something about small towns. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be knowing everybody.
Yeah. They did say that the Tuttles owned they funded them.
They funded the facility.
Salon.
Yeah.
And they make everything, as we heard. We didn't know that in season 1, but they make cell phones.
Well, I mean, you
They
would
make-
imagine that that company grew, because if they're following the timeline, that was 2008 when the crime went out. Now it's 2023, so 15 something years, they would probably get their hands more involved in global stuff.
I know you're asking the questions, but I got a question for you, because
Shoot for
you
it, man.
really be on this stuff. I watched a lot of your reviews on this. I'm just really curious. What do you feel about the rumor or the theory, I guess, that Rust's father is Travis?
Oh, well, I think it's, I think episode 2 pretty much put the nail in the coffin that he is his father. You're referring to the reveal. Yeah, I think so. I think it's true. I mean, the timelines kind of are muddled, and I think it's one of those things where, when you're in the writing room, you're like, how can we connect it, make it a little bit fun for the audience to kind of have their, excitement from connection to season 1. So it could be a little bit muddled, but I think it's an interesting thing, because as you guys mentioned too, there's a lot of things in season 1. Russ talking to the police officers, talking about it. He spent time in Alaska with his dad. They had a strained relationship, and obviously his dad had cancer. Obviously Travis has cancer, so they definitely made it confirmed that it is his dad. But other than, I think when you really dive into it, there might be you can poke some holes in that connection.
See, yeah, that's what I was curious about. Well, it's just, you already brought it up. The biggest hole was the timeline. So if like Rust's father had cancer, and it was it was 2008, like 2000, you said.
Well, when he was interviewed by the police telling them his dad, that was like 2012 when they had those moments. So
So 2012, and what we're in modern day now, or something close,
like
close
at least 10 years.
Yeah. So I'm just like, how could Rust's father look to the age that Rust would be basically at this point? So that's really like you said, this is the only hole in that theory, which is the only reason it leads me to believe that it's the red herring, right? Like, it's that because this is a whodunit, this is a detective TV show. So I'm just curious, because I haven't heard that caveat on the end of that theory.
Well, the thing is that we also have only seen Travis as like the Spectre, right?
And when he was
like,
slapping cheeks, we saw that.
When he was slapping cheeks? Travis?
Yeah, well, we saw him after slapping cheeks. We saw him in the bed.
To that point, that could have, that was a flashback, obviously. So that could have been a flashback to early, 2010, because we don't know how old. Rose,
we don't know when we don't know when Travis. We don't know when Travis went out.
We've only seen Rose's interpretation of what he looked.
Well, that's true, because they have not. Unless I'm mistaken, somebody in the chat can let us know. I don't think they said that Travis. I don't think they said when Travis died.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think that they. Yeah, specifically.
So that could have been 10 years ago, which would have been which would, or 11, 13, 15 years ago. That would still fall in line with what we're talking about here. So I like that.
Trust me, there will be I have something in my notes about Rose that we're going to get into that I'm very intrigued by. But as we unravel this crime, we get Peter, who's been doing his job well. I know you mentioned earlier he's not a good cop in town. I would push back and say Peter seems to be a good cop so far. He seems to be on the right path.
You know what? I did disrespect him. You all right.
But as we know, there might be a twist. Someone brought it up in last week's live show that Peter, there's some suspicions about Peter. So we need to keep an eye on him, I guess, moving forward. But either way, he found out that there was a gentleman that had it was identical injuries to the scientists, burnt corneas, the ears bleeding, but he survived. And that gentleman went by the name of Otis. Yeah. So toss it into y'all, man. What do y'all think about this revelation of Otis? So he did this back in 1998. Again, the same thing as the scientists did, but again, the only difference is he survived. He lived. He wasn't butt naked in the middle of the snow and killed, scared to death. So what do y'all think about this Otis individual? As we later find out from Bryce that he actually was the creator of the ice cave. So he mapped them all out. So 9 connections of Otis. Does he? He has a jacket from Clark. He might have known the scientists. Like, what are you thinking about Otis so far?
That's literally the only connection that I've been able to make, is that he has the jacket, right? But again, he must have been aware of what happened to a girl who we were seeing on the video, Annie K. And so was he there? most likely, right? And when we're talking about, oh God, oh God, but when we're talking about his, when we're talking about his connection, I feel like it's still just a little bit too soon to judge. From I don't know what happened. We'll definitely get to that, right? But yeah, did Liz like just cuff him and then found Navarro just sitting down? Yeah, so we're definitely going to be getting some answers next week regarding that. But yeah, I can't call it.
Yeah,
really
we
can't.
need some answers, Sway. We need some answers because there go Otis. Look at Otis. Not looking like he's doing well. Not doing well.
He looks very unwell.
And what this is a
He
photo
looks better than he does now.
This is a photo that they took before everything happened.
Because they mentioned he has a criminal history of like breaking and entries, and he's a thief. He's in and out of rehab. So, and then he said he was last picked up like 2 months ago. So like he's been in and out. Like
Gotta be a while
on the radar a little bit.
He also got cataracts.
He
also got cataracts. He looks like that weird dude in The Simpsons. He's like, like, you know what I'm saying? He's all over the place. It's just he just looks very weird. Maybe he's the crackhead of Ennis. He's the crackhead.
She did find drugs when she found him. She did find drugs there around.
Ennis crackhead. So that's what maybe Clark knew about this dude, like knew where he hung out and whatnot. Maybe he even brought him food every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? My dad used to do that. Our dad used to do that for a homeless dude. You know what I'm saying? Bring him some food every once in a while. They said he created the cave, so he had to. If you're creating caves, mapping out things, you would think he would have some financial stability. So something happened and clicked that made him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Crack. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. something. No, but crack is a metaphor, right? So like I'm just saying. So maybe something happened to Otis that put him in a state of cuckoo. Right. So maybe Clark knew where he was, you know what I'm saying, and knew where to go to hide. Right. And also Navarro's sister knew about that spot. Navarro knew about that spot. Clearly, this is a place that other people know about, you know what I'm saying? Liz just didn't know because she's white. She's the white lady, so nobody told her about where to go to the spots.
Have we gotten a clear connection or like a clear definition of what like the night country is?
Oh no,
not yeah. I mean,
it's scary.
It sounds, especially when he says it. We don't know the full understanding of what he means by that and what it could mean.
That's a great question. What did you feel? What did y'all feel about that? Like that scene had, like, to me, this whole episode didn't really have no real scary moments, like, you know what I'm saying, like tense moments. That was, to me,
the Christmas episode.
It was a Christmas episode. But that one moment with the polar bear was supposed to be a little tense, but as soon as she got on the road, I was like, I said, Alex, polar bear. Before we saw no polar bear, she's just on the road. I was like, polar bear, it's about to happen. So yeah, I feel like that moment was really creepy, but it was still in the practical, would make me feel more of the season 1, season 3 vibes. You know what I mean? Like, who is this dude? Like, what has he been doing? He over here doing drugs and eating. Like, what is he eating?
What is he?
Hopefully, like you said, I think that Liz is smart enough. She seems to be a very capable cop in regards to thinking quick on her feet. So I would imagine she cuffed him. When we'll get those answers hopefully next week. What has he been doing? Why did he do that in 98? Why, where has he been this whole time? Obviously the jacket, where's Clark? So definitely a lot of questions around him and also, tying him up to Oliver. Because they mentioned that him and Oliver both don't have records. They don't have social security. They don't have any information on them. So, and Oliver worked in
that's wild. But I do know how that happens because you have to apply for your social security card or your child's social security card when you, when the child is born. So you could just not do that. It's not like it doesn't benefit you in any way.
It's just negligent.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have social security numbers till like 2-3 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
just so you know what I'm saying, just so you know, some country shit. You know what I'm saying? We just real country people. But
same for me. It's just because I'm an immigrant. But
well, there you go. That's country. That's what immigrant mean. Country. That's all it means. You know, that's the same thing. But yeah, so I can understand why they wouldn't have one. But with Otis, or at least why Oliver wouldn't have one. But with Otis, they said Otis hadn't had one active for 8 years.
Yeah,
which
it was
is
a
what
lot.
really blew my mind because I ain't never heard of that. Like you, what does it not being active mean? Did they did they discontinue your social security number? Like I didn't know. Like
I think that you were dead or something.
Right,
right. Or you're missing. Do they discontinue your social when you're missing so that they don't? Like, so if somebody uses it, then it red flags it. Like, I don't know.
Was I supposed to be renewing my social security number?
Right.
Is that an Amber
to your
alert?
point, man, and you opening up this can of worms got me thinking. So he's from Germany. No credit cards, no bank accounts. Seems like a ghost. He created the map. So obviously you have to have some public information because Bryce went on the computer and oh, here he is right here. So there's some records from it online, but it wasn't completely wiped out, which makes me go back to what we talked about with Kate, the mines, Connolly being in the pocket and him working in the caves. What if he discovered whatever the scientists were looking for, including Clark, and they wanted to hush him up, discredit him as someone that knows the caves, destroy his whole career. He's now a crackhead, make him become a nobody. So you guys might be onto something. Maybe whoever's
you just made
behind
me think of some more stuff, man. So you keep giving me more theories. Yeah,
what about this? Like, if their discovery at Salal or whatever they found in the caves would discontinue the mining operations because of like some type of environmental impact,
need to shut him up.
Then they
give him some crack.
We need to take him out. Give him some crack.
Give him some crack.
Yeah.
And I did like that comment that you threw up. Like, he's a crackhead. He was running like a crackhead.
I mean, the jacket gives it away too. That's a quintessential crackhead jacket too, right?
He was running so
with the skinny jeans and that jacket.
The only reason Jodie Foster caught her, Liz caught dude was because he ran out of the room. Because he's a crackhead. She ain't never gonna catch no crackhead.
Or I mean, again, going back to our discussion, maybe he wanted to be caught. Maybe he wants to finally. This is the opportunity to spill the beans on the whole, shebang with the mine. So I think there might be something about some validity in him being someone that cracked something, that figured something out, but they hushed him up. They didn't kill him like they did Annie K, but they discredited him and made him disappear.
Look at all Otis cracking the case.
This is a tactic by law enforcement and corrupt law enforcement. I don't mean to offend any law enforcement out there in the world right now, but the corrupt ones, that's what they do. Like, hey, let's just go get them drugged up and throw them in the hood somewhere.
Call them crazy and label them as a So we'll see what comes of that. I think that's very interesting. Again, we're here cracking the case, ladies and gentlemen, for y'all. So if y'all enjoying us cracking this case, like I said, hit that thumbs up for us. But speaking of cracking the case, I can't crack this case, and that is the case of this individual here, Hank. We talked about him briefly a little bit, but this case, the case I'm referring to is this. I don't know where this is going, and I'm referring to this whole fiance catfish scam, sending money to his girl. I don't know the angle.
Out loud.
I don't know
favorite storyline so far.
90 Day Fiance spinoff series that we're getting here. Like, I don't know where it's going. I mean, right now, the only thing and I want to get your thoughts on this, but starting with you, Nine, my process that I thought of, and this is just a wild theory, going back to my Peter being involved. Peter gets slapped around from his dad. Mom's not longer involved. Peter came up with some elaborate plan to, I'm going to get my dad back by screwing him over, have this fake fiance paying all this money, and I'm going to get my dad back in that way. I don't know, Nana. Am I crazy in thinking that? What do you think about Hank fiance theory? And also, is the show trying to make us sympathize for him and make us think this dude's sending people money? No way he's involved with Annie K's death or the scientist because he's an idiot, falling for scams.
I feel like that's the moral of the story. Do not send anybody money online, except if you're super chatting.
You sound like my bank. Right. You sound like you sound like my bank.
Because he doesn't even know what she looks like.
Nope.
Apparently.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
he
been sending
does.
her all the
pretty
pictures, but
flight
she ain't sending
attendant
pictures
come
to
out
him.
the thing, and he's
Yep.
like, "Oh yeah."
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there is some type of you know, I don't know like how deep the rabbit hole goes here, but
He's holding a rabbit. That's very cute of you.
but you know, like I don't know if this is more of a symptom of wanting them to the storyline to like have this Christmas episode where we just see everyone broken, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like this type of you know, yeah, like this is the feel good holiday Christmas episode. I'm going to be putting it on for my family next year. Can't wait. But it's the toxicity of all of these people that are kind of like converging. And I don't know if it gets any deeper than that, than just like showing this old dude that hasn't been able to connect with his kids or his grandchildren, and you know is trying to find a different life, but now at this moment he has nothing else to lose and he's about to start making some crazy decisions. I don't know if it goes deeper than that.
Yeah, well, y'all, man, y'all feel bad for Mr. Hank?
I do. Well, hold on. I just want to point out that Sharon is right.
True.
Hank was heartbroken.
Black.
You know what I mean? And the roses on the bed were a dead giveaway. But to answer the question, do I feel bad for Hank? That's the question. And no. I actually think that Hank, this is my favorite storyline. First of all, I think that Hank is hilarious. Like, this is hilarious.
Dude,
when you just said maybe Peter's behind this. What's his name? Pryor.
Yeah.
Maybe Pryor's behind this. Oh man, let me tell you something. That sent chills down my spine when you said that, because I was thinking, holy shit, because he was literally looking at him all crazy.
I'm gonna try to exactly. I'm trying to find. Yep.
He was like, so what? So you ain't gonna talk about like your girl was supposed to be here, dog? Like you just walked in here without a girl, and you supposed to go get a girl, and nothing happened. What happened?
Straight for the Jim Beam, huh?
Yeah, and he also immediately said, "Did you send her some money?" Now, that also could just be knowledge that that's a scam, and then if you do stuff like that, that's a scam. But also, he could just be enjoying it. If he's not involved, he could just be enjoying this dude who's tortured him his whole life. He could enjoy watching him, go through it. But Hank, I don't feel bad for Hank, because Hank is a douchebag. Like he's a bad person.
He's a pretty awful person.
And I think that's why I feel so good. Like when everybody came off the plane, me and Alex knew that nobody was coming off that plane. And then they showed that blonde lady, and I was like, man, I was wrong. And then she went back on the plane. I said, hey, I laughed so hard. Did I not laugh? I laughed so hard for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did you feel, Alex, about Hank? What you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Where shot right there, cracking up.
It was definitely well done.
The one where he's just him in the airplane.
Yeah.
He looked like he was about to just hijack that plane and go straight to Russia. Like, I'm about to find her, man. It's a quick flight. It's a quick flight to Russia from Alaska.
No, I thought it was well done. Like, you definitely empathize with him. You don't sympathize with him because he is, like, we've seen through the whole season that he's a pretty terrible person. But the show does a good job of just showing how, like, that aching loneliness in his life.
Yeah.
Like, he's going home. Yeah, that's Ennis. But a lot of people at least have other people. Like
Ennis is the home of the lonely. When you drive into Ennis, it says "Welcome to Ennis, the home of the lonely."
Yeah, I thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah. I agree with Nan in regards to like the whole theme and tying it to him. But I don't know if it's that build up from 3 episodes to this to get to that, to have this moment of loneliness. I think there's something going to be revealed with this whole fiance thing.
It would be funny.
Something has to be.
He is actually real, and like You know, she did just have like bad cell phone connection.
Bad cell phone, yeah.
Her mother is actually sick, and there was an emergency or something. Like
that's the post
credit
credit
scene. Just
scene.
works out. Yeah,
Well,
as long as her getting off the plane.
I like that. As long as Hank dies and then she shows up later.
Shows up.
Yeah. Oh my god,
I'm good.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool.
Sad.
It's just a good end of that story. That's all.
Speaking of dying and innocence and things you can do here, apparently you can talk to the dead, right? We figured that out. This is the place where Rose has mentioned that you can communicate with the dead. And this is where we're going to play our first game. And that is going to the scene here with Jules at the lighthouse. We see the orange, which was, reference to last week with Navarro throwing an orange coming back to her. We see it in the opening credits of the show. I want to start with you, Nine. And the game, essentially, we're going to have a couple other examples of this, but the game is essentially, is it real or is it fake? Is it spiritual? Or as I have here, can it be explained scientifically? And the example, supernatural, spiritual, I see dead people, or can it be explained? And that's where we're going with this game here. We got the little kid. So, and I'm going to put a little poll in the chat for people. Yeah, he saw a lot of dead people, as Jules did. So, Nine, my question to you is, when we see her in a room, she sees the orange come from under the bed. She looks under the bed, and our first kind of big jump scare of the episode. It's her mom, because we know from the necklace, that Navarro had that is her mom. So my question to you, Nine, is, was it real? Did she see her mom under the bed, and was this a sign from the dead? That, going back to a Rose in episode 2, they want to do 3 things when you communicate with the dead. They want to, they miss you. They just want to be with you. The second one she said was they're trying to warn you, trying to give you something, to help you out, or they're trying to take you with them. Mm-hmm. So based on that playbook, Nine, again, was it real? Did she put it? Is it all in her head? As we know, she has a lot of, they diagnosed her being bipolar and schizophrenic. Yeah. So what you think, Nine? I'm gonna put a poll in the chat for everyone at home if it was real or in her head.
It was definitely real for her. We can't dispute that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now I'm gonna throw in a theory where it could be actually real, because I don't like the way that this facility treated this whole situation. Right. So I don't know if they gaslit her and knew all of her quirks and knew to put an orange under her bed.
It's like the worst prank ever.
Yeah, because I was like, man, you guys are kind of you're really ambivalent to whatever this lady is going through. And this lady, she left, and you didn't call any of her emergency contacts just to make them aware that she is leaving the facility on Christmas Eve. I'm pretty sure Alaska has one of the highest suicide rates of the country. They should be taking a lot more better care or insurance about how these people are moving, right? So I was like, well, yeah, was it allowed? Was it triggered by them? And again, we didn't really see the trigger for why she even was out in the snow in the first place. I can see it.
No,
So just to be clear, and by the way, the poll is in the chat, guys. If you want to vote, if this was real or if it was not real. So now you say it is real, or at least real to her.
Vote right now, okay. I'm going to say it's not real, but not I do real. Have. Okay.
Yo, right now it's 83 not real, 16% real. Go ahead and make them votes, baby. Make them votes, because real is looking a little sad right now. If you feel like it's real, man, you should do it right now. I already voted.
And what was your vote, if you mind me asking?
My vote was not real.
Not real.
But that's just because the orange, when the orange was right at her feet, I felt like that was a 2-step verification. That looked like a 2-step verification to me, don't it? It hit the image where it looks like an orange. So that's why I feel like that's not real. That's not real, right?
It looks
there.
Like a captcha,
you got to click.
You're not a robot, and you had to.
Yeah. Show you're not a robot.
Images that have an orange in it.
Right. Yeah. That's what that looks like. So I'm gonna say that's not real. That's not real. That's science. That's good. That's
that's pretty good science.
It's Bill 9. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is sort of a hallucination. I know that there. I've
Mhm.
heard some theories saying that the contamination in the waters was causing people to have
Mhm.
hallucinations,
Mhm.
and that could that might be an explanation what's going on here. But I'd never
Mhm.
really felt like anything that was happening in there was real. Like
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
definitely felt that was
That's a good point.
hallucinations. But you know, this show has like done a good job, kind of like another show, Reservation Dogs, that has a lot of Native American characters of sort of walking that line of supernatural and real, is like what's real, what's not. Maybe let's just leave it up to like
never answer the question.
leaving it up to the audience, like what do you guys believe would really happen? So
yeah, and they never say what they're mining. You know, so we don't know what kind of toxins could be seeping through.
Right.
I mean, we've seen the black water, we've seen the stillborn babies. So whatever it is definitely toxic and very dangerous. And we don't know in location why we don't know how close the lighthouse is to the in proximity to the mine. So so we got y'all are saying not real, but I do like what Nine said. It was real to her. Right, because
I do like that.
And by the way, to the lighthouse, they, according to the guy, he says this is voluntary work. We're not like I don't know if they're like truly funded medically to be handling people. So there's no security guard. So she probably just walked out on her own validity. But there is something with the orange. The orange is just as real to Navarro as well as Jules as that polar bear is to Holden and when Liz sees it. So again, I love that the show has this kind of back and forth, what's real, what's fake. But like Nana said, to me, it was real to her, clearly, because it scared her to take on her own life. As we saw what scared, we don't know what scared the scientists, but it scared them enough to, they died.
What a way to go.
Afraid.
And what a way to do it. Because just walking out there,
what a way.
Crazy.
Even folding the clothes up in the same way, like folding up the clothes.
Well, they said
you brought that up. Yep.
Well, yeah, that happened to I don't know. It's a Swedish flight that crashed or something like that, where a lot of the people who crashed and they were stranded in the cold, and a lot of them folded their clothes up when they walked out into the cold.
Oh, this is real life?
That these things have happened in real life. They've based that's what they're basing it off of. But like it's some kind of psychosis, or that it's believed, it's a theory because nobody's been there when it happened. But that some kind of psychosis causes you or leads you to take off your clothes and walk.
I can't remember the terminology. Peter said it in episode 2. It's something with hypothermia where like you get hot and you like take off. But the folding the clothes seems like that's almost too. Like, if you're in a state of
ritualistic, right?
And
I don't. That's what I think. I don't think it's a state of panic. I think it's a state. Like I like to say that the body is a biological machine. And there are certain things that will send certain machines into like safe mode or like self-destruct, you know what I mean? And I think that is like a safe mode for the body. Like, hey, you're about to die. Just take all your clothes off and put them over here.
Just get butt naked.
And just pull a Cuba Gooding Jr. and just
go out
there. I had a question with that screenshot that you just had up.
Which one?
With the with her face kind of scared. I can't really see it on that one, but she was looking at the orange, kind of scared.
Oh, okay,
just like the chin, with the chin tattoos. I don't know. Do you guys know like what the significance are of like the different ones? Yeah. So I seen this one, but then there's also the one with like there was just the 3 lines.
We've seen. We saw Annie had it, and then obviously, Leah had the temporary tattoo. I don't know the symbolism or like if it's a matter of like, what the standing of it. I don't know what it.
Like, is there like some type of characterization that like may give us a clue there?
But possibly. But to that point now, before we move off of Jules and her demise, we kind of talked about it, combining the two of her leaving it to go into the middle of the water. She said last week to her sister. She said there was something bad coming, and she said the sea and the water. Now we know that we find out later Navarro said that her sister drowned herself. We also know that this is how Travis died. Travis went out in the middle of the water and drowned himself as well. So going back to if it's real or fake, this is what's making me kind of lean more a little bit in that 50-50 about it being real to them. Whatever happened to Travis, obviously he knew his life was coming to an end and he decided to go out on his own terms. Jules came face to face with quote unquote death, her mom potentially. There's some correlation with the clothes being taken off, them deciding to go out in the form of water in the sea, which I'll get into a little bit later, of a potential goddess that some of the indigenous people believe in. And we know this town has a belief in some town origin of this myth that we haven't heard since episode 1 when that little kid made that drawing. So there's some connective tissues to why she went out the way that she did, which is very, very fascinating. Again, the clothes folding, the drowning. So there's a lot of connective tissues that I think points towards the supernatural, or going back to what you're talking about, the tattoos, the spiritual element of like going out in that manner. So we'll see. Any thoughts on that, guys, about, again, the connections, how Travis died the exact same way, essentially?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because the guys who froze, well, they didn't freeze to death, but the guys who were frozen in the block together, they did the same thing. We found their clothes off to the side a little bit further than
it's almost like a ritual.
Yeah, it's almost like a ritual. Navarro talked about Evangeline. She talked about how the voice was calling to her, and we know for a fact that the paraplegic dude told her that her mom was calling her,
right?
And we know for a fact that, what's his name, Julio or whatever, one of the scientists, he was like, she's calling.
Right. Yeah,
Clark.
She's awake. She's awake.
Yeah.
So we have like precedent for some entity reaching out to people.
When Mama Andor, I forget.
Mama Andor, that right.
Mama Andor said there's something out there that's even older than the ice.
Yeah, which
like,
is
she said that the symbol is older
than the ice.
That spiral symbol, which takes us back to more supernatural stuff,
right?
Including talking about the Yellow King, because the spiral has to do with the Yellow King, as they talked about in the first season, which has to do with this. In the Yellow King also, dang, what's Professor X's son's name?
Legion.
Yeah,
Legion.
Yeah.
Isn't the Yellow King from Legion? Like Legion's enemy is the Yellow King.
A literary stuff. There's a lot of like Yellow Kings.
Crossover.
And it's very a cosmic being. And as you just alluded to in season 1, they believe that the sacrifices of killing those kids and murdering kids were getting them closer to a higher, life form of the cosmic being of the Yellow King. So there's definitely, the connective tissues to that in that form. And again, them going out the way they're going out, is this their way of like going to the next plane, and with
should have never gave those people money, man. I don't know what the fuck.
Nah, you set up this, teed it up perfectly. Let's just talk about Rose and continue this conversation about spiritual, if they're dead or alive. There was a comment a couple weeks ago that someone had brought up to my attention as far as the Rose character. And let's have a conversation about it. Let me pull her up here. And I thought that her dress was a very perfect. It was all red.
Mama Andor wearing that Santa baby.
Yeah, or a devil in a red dress, maybe. So the comment that someone made a couple weeks ago to me was, "Is Rose potentially dead?" And the reason being that we haven't seen anyone else interact with her besides Navarro. And if we're going by the family curse, Navarro might be seeing dead people, communicating with dead people. So personally, let me just put my stakes in the camp. I don't think she is dead, because when we first saw her, we saw Travis talking to her to go to the body. So I don't think a ghost would interact with a ghost in that manner.
Yeah.
This way. Yeah, like why would a ghost be like, go this way? Like, so anyway, I don't think she's dead. But the in this episode, the sprinkles are there, right? We hear, if I go back to episode 2, she was the one that talked about taking her sister to the lighthouse, and like I think Alex said it earlier, or one of you guys said it earlier, in regards to don't confuse the mental with the the spiritual.
Yeah.
So is that a sign from the dead? Is Rose a dead person? Is she alive? She had this history of being a professor. She walked away. She quit. She threw everything away. Did she go to Ennis to take her life when Travis died? So
I would say
again,
she can't be both and be Rust's.
Well, now
mom.
that you're
That's all I'm
bringing it up,
saying.
and I'm looking at the comments, and I gotta say, I love your live audience. I love being on the show because your live audience is always lit, always
Yeah, they
has
are
really
lit.
great comments on here. But it seems like a lot of people in the comments also subscribe to that theory of Rose being deceased or
Sharon
being a
said
ghost in
Rose is
some
a
way.
ghost.
And this scene, it was very odd, right? Like this whole thing about
whole
Navarro
feast.
visiting her,
Yeah.
and it's a feast, and then she has this like, oh, like who was she dressed up for on that Christmas Eve? And
Christmas.
what
Well,
was
she made a bunch of food, so she clearly is just a Christmas person. I would do this if I was very alone, as I love Christmas.
Just get all dressed up.
It
put
ain't
on
gonna be
elf.
nobody there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All this food gonna spoil in like 5 days. Like, and I'm not gonna finish it. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
just gonna make
Christmas
it
to me.
just to enjoy yourself.
Shout out to Film
Yeah.
Age, by the way. In the comments.
Oh yeah, I see Film Age in the comments. Shout out. But yeah, I don't subscribe to the because I thought that Rose also called the cops to let them know.
Yeah.
She called it in. So like
that's another reason why
obviously
I don't think she's dead.
she can't be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it was so her and Navarro had a close relationship. It could have been because I'm trying to remember that scene from episode 1.
Yeah.
Again, I know
Did
the police talk to her. I didn't see the
Navarro
police
directly?
talk to her. That's what I'm saying. So maybe Navarro, if we're going
that's
with
a
she's supposed to
possibility.
communicate it to her to go here, and because we see a lot of people point at Navarro to go, certain directions. So again, I don't subscribe to that she's dead. But
it could be though. It could be.
It is pretty interesting that now that I think about it, Navarro is the only person that is talking to Rose,
and she
seems like a prime witness in this whole thing.
And even in episode 1, like Liz walked by Rose. No one directly spoke to her. It was only Navarro.
Right.
Yeah,
that would fit in the Rust's Travis father is. I mean, Rust's father is Travis. That would fit into that lexicon if that is the case. That Rose is also dead with Travis, because that would mean that
like they both died.
They both died a long time ago, and
she never ate any of it, huh? Okay.
Oh, Rose made
no, she was definitely
the food, but she never.
I thought she was eating around it, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely remember her chewing on something because I was like, she's chewing on something while smoking that joint. That is, I don't know if I would.
That's some wild stuff. Yeah, that's wild.
I would finish my food and then smoke.
We smoke a lot and we eat a lot, but we do them all separate.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'm just saying that there's nothing saying
Rose was
either one definitively, but I am also in the team alive.
Yeah, I'm in team like non-supernatural. I don't think that she's a ghost. Like honestly, when Navarro first showed up, I was like, oh man, Rose is cute as fuck. She's like having a good time. She's like faded. She's drinking. She's all dressed up. I was like, if I was to your point, like if I was all alone in Alaska, I would do the exact same thing after I lost my mind in the snow.
Yeah, and she's got another house. She's got the best house we've seen so far.
Here's another little weird thing that I'm just remembering. When Navarro said, "What were you before?"
That's what
it also seems so strange the way that they phrased that.
And not even that. Now, when she told her her whole story, I was a very serious person with serious job responsibilities. She told her that I dropped everything. It was meaningless. If you remember when Navarro said to Liz in last week's episode when they were in the car, she asked Liz, have you ever felt like dropping everything and just walking away?
Yeah.
Almost identical bar for bar lines, almost alluding to Rose leaving her life behind, going to Ennis, which seems to be a place to die. So again, there's these little hints, these little,
and also that's what Rust did, right?
That's what Travis
Rust
did.
Rust, Travis as well, but Rust also said, "Hey, I'm done." Like when he ended up I can't remember the other guy's name, but Cole. when Cole's wife ended up sleeping with Russ gave up on like
Hart. Sorry, Russ is
come
Cole.
on now. How many damn people you
Are you
gonna
talking
give me?
about,
You gonna give me all these different names? No, I'm
There's a
joking,
lot
I'm
of
joking.
names. I need to put a list
But
of
yeah,
all the
Woody
names.
Harrelson. Woody
Marty.
Harrelson.
I think his name was Marty, wasn't it?
Is Marty Hart and then Travis Cole.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Travis is what allegedly his dad's name, right? So this is, I'm just saying I'm trying to give people that have that theory a little bit more juice. You know
This
what I'm saying?
comment
'Cause
section, this is
Travis
actually
literally
shifting.
went away from everything after that traumatic moment where he's. Is it traumatic if you sleep with somebody else's wife?
I mean, it depends on the
for him.
person.
It was, but anyway,
yeah.
it affected his sensibility of what's good and what's bad. He got out of it and just started living a nomad life.
Seeing Miss T says Rose could have died after she made the call and after she saw Travis. So yeah, that's also like, yeah, I think you guys are actually onto something. I don't know if
I think all of you are wrong. But
air yet to that notion, but you guys are laying down a compelling argument in the comment section.
Absolutely.
Here.
And again, that's why we have these two. And which, by the way, the poll results of the last one was everyone thought that it wasn't real. I think it was like 87%. And I have a new poll in the chat now. If you guys think Rose is dead or alive, but this is why we're playing. You know, do I see?
Can you add another one? Are you able to add just another option to like I'm not sure anymore?
Not sure.
Yeah, I need an I'm not sure option. I'll go for that because now I was going to go straight up alive, but now,
no, I went dead. I mean, excuse me, I went alive. Like, what are you talking about? I went alive in the poll. I saw the poll. I just went ahead and dropped it down in there. What is we talking about? 71% to 29%. 71% alive. No, 69% alive now.
Yeah, it's up. I mean, again, I think we've all had we laid out our cases of why. Again, I think she's alive. I think number one, she did call in the the bodies, but also too, like, she's wearing different clothes every time we see her. I don't know too many fashionable ghosts out there. But there is something to be said about her knowing all this information regarding the dead and the rules around the dead and everything that she knows about it. So it's a very fascinating thing. I would love a nice scene because every time we've seen her, it's been a very interesting tidbit. So I'm very interested to know when the next time we see Rose and what that reveal could be, if she is alive or dead or something in between. There's another, there's so many spiritual beliefs, there's a beyond. Maybe she's in between, she's in limbo, and it seems to be this place on the edge of the universe where weird shit happens. So she could be in between life or death and just kind of, again, in a limbo state. So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen, we will see. But before moving on, 134 of you all joining us, having a good time. Like Nine said, I love doing these live streams, having these discussions at 11 o'clock at night here in the Central West, in Central Time. So if y'all are having a good time, enjoying yourselves like we are, thumbs up, share, and continue to drop your comments in the comment section. So
can I ask you a question? Because you just threw up, I mean, you just were talking about like the supernatural element of it. And there is this one theory that's out there on the webs talking about because we got this constant about we've awakened her, she's awake type thing. She's speaking to me, she's calling to me. I think this I think that this one theory might be right about this Inuit myth of Sedna.
Maybe.
Sedna. It's Sedna. It's an Inuit.
Can I cut you off for 1 second?
Yeah,
I actually have that in my notes, so I'm going to leave.
Okay, cool.
It's a topic of discussion that I actually put in at the last moment. That is a character or a mythological belief in a particular goddess.
And she's got the same tattoo on the lip,
as you can see. Yep, exactly. So that is put in that. I definitely had that in my notes to bring that up. That I do find very fascinating. But speaking of fascination, this show has a really good. There's a lot of things are on purpose, and what I mean by that is not just from a scene perspective, a character decision, but like the music in the show is very critical to the story. We know Liz hates Twist and Shout. That's something that triggers her every time she hears that song. She thinks of Holden. It's been all throughout the show. Very first episode, it was on the TV. Wheeler was whistling it. This apparently, if you have the closed captions on, when she opened up her fridge last week and she like heard something, Twist and Shout was playing in the fridge. So there's a importance with music.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's again, this shows there's a lot of little Easter eggs here. There's an Easter egg in this episode with a track that was playing during this pivotal scene, and you guys talked about the loneliness being a big theme in this episode. There was a song that played by Billie Eilish called "Everyone Dies," and it's a scene where we see Navarro. She gets the toothpaste from Kavik, which was a nice little sweet moment. We see, Liz is now by herself because Leah leaves and goes with Kayla. But if you guys are familiar with that song, which I wasn't, I had to look it up. There's a line in Billie Eilish's song "Everyone Dies" where she says that, a couple hundred years, science may be able to discover a way to, live forever. So that, and again, go back to the episode, go back to that song, look up the lyrics. I think, and I want to toss it to you first, Nan. I think that correlation, and we talked about the whole idea of the mines, what they're looking for, what are they mining for? I think in this song, in a couple hundred years, we can live forever. I think that might allude to what they're looking for is a way to find to live forever.
Yeah.
What do you all think about that?
No, that's awesome. Let me just say, like, I do like Billie Eilish. Thought it was a weird choice for her to be kind of like the basis of the theme song of like the show. I was like, okay, but like it does kind of track because she definitely is like a weird ass, has those weird tones and everything. But now when we are talking about what Salal is looking for, that is what the geologist said, that it's going to be able to like revolutionize like healthcare if the microbe.
Yeah, Bryce said if wwhatever they were trying to find can cure cancer, different decay of.
Spoiler alert: Bryce did it. Excuse me.
Him and his wife did it.
Him and his wife. She's so mad at Liz. She's
trying to find a way to kill Liz so she can bring it back to life and kill her.
If this was Scream 7, that's exactly what would be happening.
Exactly what would happen. But yeah, that's very interesting because then it brings up another point because in the comment section we're talking about like there's something in the water, and we're alluding to the fact that like it's most likely the mining company. But what if there's something microbial in the water that is also bringing on these odd like premonitions and like people seeing ghosts or whatever, and because there's been cases back in the day, like I think it's like mostly like within yeast or something, when you're back in like colonial times of like the yeast had some type of enzymes in it that actually made you like trip or whatever.
That's what they do in The Last of Us. That's how that connects.
Or I think it's like basically like LSD or whatever.
You're right.
But I was saying that like if it is something like that, it could also become more affected with the whole like night country. Like maybe this type of organism does thrive in the darkness
in this environment.
Right?
The 30 days of night.
The 30 days of night, and so that's how they.
That's a great point.
I'm not sure.
No, I mean you're onto something, man. Yeah, I think you're definitely onto something. I mean, I think there's a lot of different clues and hints and things referenced to as far as the no, I don't think it's a reach at all, man. I don't think. What were you gonna say though? What were you guys gonna say about this whole idea of living forever, finding a way to live forever, going back to the Tuttle Company? They have their hands in everything. That sounds like something a company would want to have under their label of products that they sell, a way to live forever or to keep for themselves, obviously, to live forever.
I think a lot of that is a great point, because a lot of that is, I don't want to really talk about that, but you know what happened in season 1? The theme was child abuse is what I'll say. Abuse. And there in those circles, there's a lot of mindset like of rejuvenation through youth blood. Like the blood of a youth can bring
sacrifice
you transition of rejuvenation.
Right.
Through like you said, through sacrifice.
The future that the Democrats want.
No, they actually no, it's not that. Well, if we're gonna blame anybody. Well, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But I'm not gonna do that. But to that malign point, like just to get to where I was trying to get to. They used to do that with African Americans, with slaves, and I'm saying slaves, and then what they consider African Americans after slavery. They used to take the bodies of African Americans and use the blood and open up women and take their ovaries and try to do different things to keep themselves rejuvenized. Or rejuvenized, is that a word? I made that up.
Yeah, I think so.
It's okay.
Rejuvenized.
Yeah, that was they touched on that in the American Horror Story or whatever. That lady that used to like
that was a real thing. That was a real thing.
That lady in New Orleans, or whatever,
but she was just carrying on traditions through an era that should no longer have existed. Like she was stretching it out. So I think that there might be something there. Nine, you might have hit on something, man. I was saying the biology teacher or the geology teacher might have done it, but I think Bryce is a little closer, man. He's on.
I mean, he knows. Bryce seems to know a lot. And to that conversation of Bryce and this whole idea of poison in the water. I mean, again, going back to episode 1, when we saw what they specialize in, Clark specializes in the study of microorganisms which are connected to prehistoric, type of, as we know in this episode, they showed that there was whale fossils that they found in the cave. So there's definitely something connecting to the water, to obviously the people of Ennis and particularly the indigenous people of Ennis, and this idea of living forever, immortality, loneliness, avoiding death, because it seems that death seems to be on the corner of every inch of Ennis. And again, this is the end point of the world, as Rose talked about. So a lot of things to look forward to these next 2 episodes in regards to that big reveal of what they were actually mining, and how it connects to Annie K. If she found it, as she saw in the video, I found her. What exactly is that? And again, we'll tie it back to that goddess of the mother of the sea when we wrap up this breakdown. But we talked about the song Billie Eilish. We talked about was what Jules saw real? Was it not real? We have the conversation we had about Rose, but there's another conversation in regards to real and Liz being in the camp that everything has a scientific reasoning. But we see she's been drinking. She's been having a little couple shots of alcohol because she's frustrated with the case. She's frustrated with her daughter not listening to her.
More than couple. No.
Yeah.
Well, she says she's not a drinker, so it could have just been a couple.
Yeah, could have been, but it led her to find herself to drive. She had the scene with Conley. He tells her that, and I'll backtrack on that because there is something that Nye mentioned about him running for mayor, which I think is important. But she's on the road, and for the first time this season, she's only seen the polar bear in her dreams with Holden. She saw it on her bed floor in episode 1, but now she physically sees this bear. So going back to our topic at hand, Alex, if you want to start off with this, Liz.
Polar bear.
Did she see the polar bear? Was it real? Was it fake? Is there a way to explain that polar bear with the missing eye? What do you think?
I don't know. I do feel like that it was a real polar bear, and it was really there for whatever reason. I guess there's just this injured polar bear who's terrorizing this
I like
town.
how you want there to be an injured polar bear.
Yeah, it's just like for whatever reason, there's just this injured polar bear that just happens to look just like the toy from that our son used to have. And yeah, I'm still like, honestly, I just have more questions than any answers.
Right.
I can't really explain anything, but I do like the idea that like this image keeps showing up. I'm just saying, like, I think that it's real, but I don't, I
think that the polar bear is real as well. And I think that it is the polar bear from the Golden Compass. I think that those are 2 real theories that I have.
So his Dark Materials crossover.
It's a cross.
Well, it's
Come on,
HBO IP.
It's
Yeah, it
HBO,
makes
exactly.
sense.
The same,
Crossover.
Went for the
same,
Night Walkers.
same property.
Yeah,
from
Night
Game of
Walkers.
Thrones.
Yeah.
Same
Very
property. I think they cross blending. It's a Venn diagram of.
I would love if that happened. I would love to
I
see
would love
James
it.
McAvoy in the finale.
I would. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
That's
it would
funny.
be so amazing.
So,
But,
to all of our live watchers, there is a poll now. If you guys believe the polar bear was real in that moment that Liz saw, and I guess just tying it back to the supernatural of it all, there seems to be a recurrence, as you guys mentioned, that the polar bear is connected to Holden. So going to the supernatural of it all, maybe the polar bear wasn't really there, but that just like the orange is almost a symbol or a sign for the sisters, the polar bear is a sign from Holden, who wants to talk to his mom through Navarro. She says, last week Holden in her vision said, I want to talk to my mom. So Nine, do you think this polar bear is real? With the eye. The only two characters that have seen the polar bear has been Navarro in episode 1 and now Liz in this episode. So Nine, is this polar bear real? Or is it rooted in reality or rooted in supernatural spiritual stuff?
So I mean, I just hit the poll. And I just gotta say it's a beautiful poll. Very beautiful poll. It's very close. I think this is probably
it's like
what
50,
everyone
53,
is like very split on. I also want to say that there's a bunch of people watching right now. Hit that like and subscribe button. Get those likes up. But since Navarro saw it, I think it's real. Navarro also saw it. I think it's real.
okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how huge that polar bear is, though?
Hold on. Well, it's an average size polar bear. It's just a polar bear,
but still,
polar bears are massive.
Big.
Polar bears are massive. I just want to point out that I was obviously joking earlier. Even though also I voted in the poll. Yes, the polar bear is real. But the polar bear can't be real, okay? Because it's from the Golden Compass. Listen, the polar bear is not real because the polar bear is attached to the one-eyed polar bear that her son had, obviously. Or maybe it wasn't her son. Maybe he was also. I think
it's a coincidence that they are trying to, like, I think that's like a.
No, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you why it's not real.
But it's real.
It's because of the trailer. Now, just like the first or all the previous seasons, the intro of the trailer, but excuse me, the intro of the television show, the title sequence, which oddly reminds me of True Blood, but I move on. I digress. There's a orange that like is rolled under, I think, a chair or something like that, or maybe it's a bed or something like that that's on the road that Liz is driving down. And also we see the polar bear. And those two things, and like you see a bunch of other stuff that's clearly not there. So I am going under the assumption that is the spiritual. If you look through that intro, there's a lot of things that come off spiritual and a lot of things that come off practical. So I don't know. I would have to go on the real side. I'd have to go on the side of that the polar bear is not real.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, I think that the polar bear is real. I just haven't really explained why there's all this the significance of it, and also just like the interesting, it seems like Navarro had a dream about Danvers' kid. She did. What do you mean? Seem like that would happen? Yeah, but like, and but I that all that connection is also really interesting to me because I don't know what's going on there, but I have faith that in like the writing, because the writing for the show has been so strong that they'll be able to tie that up and satisfy.
I like that you said that, because you know what? You never really say that. I have faith in the writing because it's so strong. Because that speaks to how good this show is. Really, that's what we take it back all the way to the beginning of this live. I have faith in these writers, man. These writers really do put in work. Yeah, and I'm so proud of you for saying that.
I don't think Jodie would have joined it if the writing wasn't going to be strong.
Well, I would have said the same thing about Colin Farrell in season 2, but look at where we are now.
Would you guys because these are like my top 2 scariest animals. Would you guys rather fight a polar bear or a gorilla?
Okay,
Oh,
hold
man.
on. Yes, let me think about that.
I would say polar bear because it would
Yeah,
be
me
over
too.
quickly.
Over quickly.
I feel like the gorilla is just gonna rip my arms off and then just like stare at me for a while before while I'm bleeding to death. That's just where my mind went.
Well, the gorilla can also like sign at you too, and, like, tell
Yeah.
you why you fucked up.
You
Why
only,
did I-
you're only gonna understand a couple of things that his hands do.
Like, I only took half a semester of ASL. I don't know. How to
when he gives you, when he
communicate
flips
with
you the bird, you gonna know that one. That's what, oh my god! I would have. I was gonna answer gorilla. I don't want to get killed by a gorilla, but it wasn't for the same reasons as him. But his is funnier, so I'm not even gonna say my reasons. But yeah, man. First of all, I feel like I could beat a polar bear. You know why? Take out his eye. Obviously, his eye. His eye is obviously
one-eyed polar bear.
Yeah, his eye is obviously his weakness.
What about
Just
you?
take
What
his
about you,
eye
Elliot?
out, man.
A polar bear. I would probably want to go out by a polar bear, honestly,
Go out by a polar bear.
or have better chances with a polar bear because it seems like there's I saw some, there's all these late night rabbit hole TikTok videos. This one guy was like attacked by a bear, and if like you scream at, it was a grizzly bear versus a polar bear, so I don't know if the same tactics work, but if you like come at them aggressively, just as aggressive as they're coming at you, you can like scare them off. I don't know if that tactic works for gorillas.
Yeah,
so
that's
I just feel like
yeah.
chances.
And I said mine backwards. I did say mine backwards. I meant to say that I would also go out by a polar bear because I'm afraid of the same thing that you like. But yeah,
I think I've heard that it's the opposite with gorillas. Like you have to go make yourself smaller,
Smaller for them
to not like mess with
Just
you.
gotta chill out. Yeah.
like the baby, like that little baby who fell down into the gorilla pit.
Mm.
Yeah.
You just
exactly.
Because if they think you a baby,
yeah, there's like, oh, it's just a baby. I can't
Protect you.
kill no baby.
can't kill this little baby. Just slap him around.
Well, let us know, guys. Who would you rather be taken out by, a gorilla or a polar bear? But to speak to the
I said
poll,
funny, but like taken out, I guess is probably
Yeah.
the most likely conclusion.
but as far as the poll in the chat, with over 48 votes, did Liz really see the polar bear? 52% said yes. So very, very interesting.
Very close. Very
But
close,
like you guys said, there's a connection to the polar bear with Holden. I made a very kind of sick, twisted theory a couple weeks ago. I thought that Holden died in a car accident, but now I started to think that Holden died by being attacked by a polar bear. Someone tried to get the polar bear off of him and shot the polar bear in the eye. And unfortunately, he was attacked. Yeah.
Oh shit.
That's
that's my
theory.
polar bear.
I like that. But
situation.
I do want to know why the polar bear. I'm sorry.
Well, I thought it was a drunk driving accident because
and the polar bear might be involved with the car accident.
Yeah.
I thought that it's weird that the whole reason I think that the polar bear is fake is because of the stuffed animal. Because why are there two in the same? And we know that the stuffed animal's real now because she threw it into the snow.
Yeah.
So that's just the only thing that pokes hole in that. I would love for the polar bear to be real. Because then my theory about the golden compass is real. But
well, speaking of
that just speaks to me trying to be right.
Yeah.
And that ain't got nothing. Yeah, that ain't,
Well, we're all excited to see what the revelation with the polar bear is. But speaking of real, these emotions that Evangeline's going through after she finds out that her sister took her own life. And I loved how, I didn't love it because it was a sad moment, but as far as narratively speaking, when she's in the car with Peter, she said, no, be with your family. She didn't have a reaction. Like she said, go be with your family. And she later, let out everything. But starting with you, Nine, man, we see that she finds out about her sister. She immediately goes over to the lighthouse, has her kind of a meltdown, talking about, how were you able to let her walk away? But on her way to the lighthouse, she sees the guy from episode 1 who hit the girl, who I still have my suspicions on. I believe the character's name was Blair. We haven't seen Blair. Well, we saw her last week when she asked, if the picture was a witchcraft. I think Blair might have something to do with it. But neither here nor there. Navarro sees the guy. She goes back. She gets into a fight. Now, this is where my twisted mind goes again as far as these theories. We're assuming that Navarro got into a fight and they just walked off, went about their own way. Is it a possibility, Nine, very similar to what we're thinking that happened to the Wheeler character, that Navarro probably shot Wheeler, or Liz. We still don't know what happened in that scene, how that guy died.
I have
But
a theory about that. We'll get
could
to that.
Navarro, if we're assuming that she shot Wheeler, did she kill these guys that she got into a fight with? Because we don't see them again for the rest of the episode.
Well, let me say, I would never want to get on a one-on-one fight with Navarro.
No,
we
I
know
mean the
that,
actress.
like,
she's a boxer in real life.
she's a boxer for
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
She would be bad. So it's like Navarro, polar bear, or gorilla. Yeah, I don't want nothing with none of them.
Right.
But at the same time, yeah, I thought she was going to air them out. I thought you, like, especially when the chips were down and she got her licks in, and then they started whooping her ass. I thought, man, because they beat her ass.
Yeah.
And, I thought it would have been cool if we would have seen a scene, or like right before she got out the car, that she just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put this thing in my glove box or whatever, just gonna put it in my center console, and I'm just gonna handle some business right now, But yeah, that was a very strange moment, because it cuts. I'm gonna have to like think that like they just kind of like
just walked away,
beat her ass, and then they're like, okay,
yeah, they just went on to
just went on.
They are in the middle of nowhere, so it's
right. They're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
They're probably a bit scared about some like police blowback right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they know that like she just straight up won, and
they
like,
know they're white. They know they white. They know they white. She was drunk. I mean, well, she wasn't drunk, but they knew she was doing. Yeah, they knew she broke the law, so they was like,
they probably had to sit there and do some. They had to do some white math right there. It's like, wait, so we're white men, but she's a Native American cop.
We tried to keep her, and they tried to keep her.
Here, what do we do?
They tried to keep her off of dude. Like they was like, no, don't do it. And then
she just started going.
Then it turned into the whole thing.
And I thought she was actually about to take it.
Dude, can I say something about that actress, Callie Reis?
Callie Reis, yeah.
Yo, I didn't know this. Maybe I'm just a dum, but I hadn't heard anybody else mention it. She was in season 3, and I
of True Detective.
True Detective. Season 3. Just looked it up.
Was like an extra or something?
I know it's here. She was Avena Navarro in season 3 of True Detective, and I did not know that at all.
I'm getting like,
yeah, you guys freezing up is on your
end? All right, so it's not just me. Yeah, you guys are freezing up there.
Freezing up,
Mr. Banthas. Yeah.
Well, that's because they got
the connection.
HBO don't want y'all to know the truth, because we still got a good connection. I'm telling you, he tried to let us know if the CIA tried to cut off shit.
We can't hear a word y'all saying. It's cutting in and out, man. It's cutting in and out. Hold on, we're gonna remove them from a second and hopefully get the situation figured out. But what I got from what they were saying, Nine, is the actress was in season 3. I didn't know. This is my first time hearing this.
I had no idea. I had no idea about that. That is that's very interesting. I don't know in what capacity. Because
if I'm not mistaken, her first role was like in a small, like independent movie, and this is like her first big break. So I would assume if she was in the show, it was like a background character or something of that nature. So it's news to me.
That's a pretty interesting. I don't know. I doubt that there would be a connection. For that, but maybe it's just like, oh yeah, we like this actor for this new role, and then hopefully no one would notice. But then again, I'm going to have to see exactly in what capacity, and maybe they do have some theories. But I'm pretty sure they'll be back with us whenever they get that.
Situated. We'll get them back in once they because they, as you guys can see again, once this stream is up, guys. Not only will Nine's info be in the link, but I'm going to put theirs in there in the description as well, so you can follow them
right below the like and subscribe button.
Great commentary, but they're also funny as hell. So definitely check them out once I put that up. I'm actually looking up that Kylie connection there, and I'm gonna have to definitely look into it a little bit further. But the topic at hand, we talked about a little bit of the Bear. Is it real? Is it not? And someone mentioned earlier, I guess we can kind of pivot into this. Oh, I think that they might be back. Hold on, let me see. Are they with us?
Hello, can you guys hear us?
Are we?
I think it's still lagging. It's still
Yeah,
lagging.
the lagging is.
Well,
Yeah,
just give us a second. We're going to show a different Wi-Fi. Hold on a second.
all right.
Okay. We'll move it out real quick. But we talked about the supernatural of it all. I guess the next topic at hand, what I was thinking about transitioning into, we have the scene where now we're at Liz's house. Navarro comes to her, lets her know about her sister passing away. And there's a conversation being had regards to Navarro picking up that bear and the connective tissues there. And Liz is just very, headstrong about there's no supernatural, there's no afterlife. We're all alone when you die. I'm just curious now on how you feel this whole pushback of Liz not accepting the idea, especially after seeing the bear in this unknown, murder case with the scientists, that she's just so afraid to believe in that there is something supernatural going on. What do you think is that hesitancy for her to dip her toe into that idea that the supernatural or spiritual is involved?
Well, one, very poor choice of words right before, geez. And two, one doth protest a bit too much, you know what I mean? I think it's like more of a denial, not telling Navarro, but trying to convince herself that nothing is going on or there's no like connection. So like I'm wondering like if in Liz's mind, which I think is like the interesting and like good part about the writing, because we know that she is drunk and kind of in a frustrated place while she was driving back and when she saw that polar bear, and that kind of adds doubt to where did she really see it, or was she kind of like in a place where she was just so frustrated and kind of like imagining things? And also, if there's something in the water, we know that she is, visiting all of these more indigenous places and going there. She got the black water on her hands, got a little bit freaked out there because, well, when it comes to the denial, she's not only just denying the spiritual connection and emotional connection that she's trying to establish with her daughter and with Navarro, but she's in a place of denial with what's going on with the mining community and everything. So I think when she has that moment of clarity, that's going to be one of the biggest revelations that we have. That's going to be probably like a bit of the climax, or maybe it's going to be like right at the end, right? Where she's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. It's a lot of good stuff there, man. And I think you guys are coming in. You're good now. So the internet, you had a big scoop, I guess, because a lot of people in the chat bring it up that they, someone said I guess she was in episode 5. I don't see it on her IMDb or her Wikipedia page.
I just looked it up on Google. Like I said, right here, 2 things that I looked it up, True Detectives, and it said she was the cast in both seasons. Now, maybe she's just mentioned in it, but if people saying what episode it is,
someone said she was in episode 5 and 6
on IMDb. I don't know which capacity she was in.
I don't know what it is either, but they haven't mentioned who her daddy is, and what if her daddy is Mahershala Ali? What? I just threw it out there. Since we just
more like Muhammad Ali shit.
I just found out Mahershala Ali is our neighbor the other day.
What?
Like literal neighbor, like literally next door, or are you talking about like
not next door, state? But like no, like the same neighborhood. Like,
oh wow,
yeah. I went to pick up my mail, and his mail was there too, and I was like, oh shit,
that's crazy.
I met him one time, so that makes sense. It was cool.
Yeah, cool guy.
Very cool guy. Way too old to be Blade. I don't think that's actually gonna happen.
I
mean, seriously, like when I met him, I was like, damn, but this dude way older in like he looked like my daddy's brother. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not young.
Choice for Blade.
AKA your uncle.
No, my daddy's brother.
Well, bringing it back to, I guess, going back to our conversation on the if is it reals and not. Now that we got y'all back, tossing this question to y'all. So the last couple weeks, we've been hinting at this idea that this individual by the name of Wheeler was an abuser, in and out of jail. They didn't keep him down. They just knew it was a matter of time that he was going to do something to his 18-year-old girlfriend, which he ultimately did. He killed her. And we keep going back to the scene. And the first time we heard about it, Liz presented it to Peter as if it was a murder-suicide. When they arrived, he was already dead. But we've seen the scene. He's alive when they're dead. And we keep seeing him alive. So we still don't know who shot Wheeler, if we're assuming that they killed him, which I think that they're alluding to that. And it was a cover-up in a sense. But the question I have for y'all is when we cut to the scene and Liz approaches Navarro about, you saw something in that room that day, and we see the scene and the girl who's dead is now alive and she's pointing at her, which is very important because everyone seems to be pointing at Navarro. It's the same point. Her mom pointed at her like that when she was a kid. London last week at the hospital bed pointing at her the same way, and now we got that same thing. So again, it's like the dead are trying to tell Navarro something, and it's just a matter of time she's going to listen. And maybe that happens in this episode, but question I have for you guys is going back to if it's real, if it's fake, did Navarro see this girl? Was that in the room? Did she see her rising from the dead? And a message was trying to be said to her. I don't know if the dead was trying to tell her, he did it, kill him. I don't know what the message could have been, but do you guys think Navarro actually saw that girl in that scene? And I'll put a poll up in the chat now to see if you guys think that if she was really there or not. Did Navarro see her?
I believe she definitely saw something and believes that she got a message from someone about like this situation that's what would end up influencing her to kill a Wheeler later on, because I do think that that's just probably how it went down. Either Navarro kills him, or maybe in like some twists, Danvers is the one who has to kill him. But yeah, I think that there's definitely some sort of cover up going on there. But I think that she feels that she saw something and was motivated to do so. But for whatever reason, is also still covering that aspect up from Danvers. Like Danvers is like, I know you saw something that day, and Navarro doesn't want to say it for some reason. I don't know why.
Because Navarro shot him.
Right.
So Navarro is our Rust, right?
Essentially, yeah.
And Jodie Foster is
it's the Marty character. Yeah,
Hart.
Hart. So you gave me the wrong name, really. So so I think that Navarro ended up killing the dude only because it came down to a moment where it was like the spiritual met the physical. And she just knew that this person had to die. You know what I mean? Because like you mentioned, Jodie Foster, Liz, she was like, oh man, I know you saw it. And then when it wasn't until Navarro denied that she saw it that Liz was like getting upset. Like she was doing her playful, like, whatever, y'all's little cockamamie, boogly. You know what I'm saying? Like she was making fun of it. And then Navarro was like, I didn't see anything. She was like, wait a minute. Are you going to tell me you ain't like, they haven't had this conversation apparently, privy to this, like, and not at least in this depth, you know, like, and it, it seemed like a moment where we know Liz was like probably half drunk still from the night before. So it seemed like they was being honest with each other for the first time because Navarro's sister just died. Liz is going through all this. Like her daughter just left. We really glazed over that. Like, but
the show glazed over it too. Like, and plus she just was you were just about to get pressed charges on. You just leave the house. Like, I don't know what kind of, this conversation needs to be had, young lady. You need to calm the F down, sit your ass down. But they didn't have that conversation.
The show is completely glazed over their entire relationship, in my opinion. Because
I agree with that as well.
Like they've just kind of just skipped on through that. Yeah. But hopefully, it, as Alex said, and as I've said previously, I have trust. I have faith in the writers. So I believe that will be revealed as to why that's been the case, or we'll have a little bit more insight into it, even if it's not physically said, like if there's no exposition towards it.
Well, let us know in the
Man.
chat. 'Cause like I said, I got a poll going, and a lot of you all are, and I want to toss to you too, Alex, just to get your thoughts on it. But 56% of people saying that they do think that the girl was there. So, toss it to you, Alex. Do you think that Navarro saw that girl dead? And kind of what your brother was alluding to, as far as like in that moment when Navarro sees her, is it a possibility that she can literally open herself up as like a window? I don't want to say possession, but like, could the girl get into Navarro's physical state and literally be the one that shoots Wheeler as like a tool or something of that nature? But I guess the big question is, do you think that girl was really there as far as Navarro goes, and this whole idea of why Navarro wouldn't just tell Liz? Because she's been pretty straightforward about, I think there's some supernatural shit going on, but why does she deny that moment of seeing Wheeler in that scene, or seeing the dead girl in that scene with Wheeler?
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm still, team Bill Nye. I still think that this is
all
like
grounded in reality.
everything is explained, explainable.
Well, then explain.
But I do feel, and I do think that Navarro more or less probably doesn't want to go into what she saw, because she knows that Danvers doesn't, share her belief anyway. It's like I can sit here and tell you what I saw, but you're not gonna believe me. You're just gonna think I'm crazy. True. So True. And just make fun of me the same way you always have. So I can see that being a reason why. It's like, and you're currently doing it right now to my face. My sister just died.
So disrespectful. That's all I say. She's just a cop, right? She just get your boogly. You know what I'm saying?
Just saying awful shit. But like
Moon cricket and all that shit. Just saying racist shit.
So I think that's like her main motivation for just not going into it any more than that. But I do think that this is just like, for whatever reason, whatever is causing these people to see these dead people, to go to see all this stuff. That is just like, that can all be explained. I think there's going to be something maybe that's in the ice that's being relinquished from the mining or something like that.
I think that it's a good thing that like you really pointed it out earlier and reiterated it now about the black water. At the first episode, we see a bunch of reindeer jump off of a MF, and I don't know if we're supposed to cuss. We cuss a lot on the Drunk Banthas podcast. On the Drunk Banthas podcast, right here, Drunk Banthas channel, we cuss a lot.
Yeah, we do.
I'm sorry. So I'm trying to keep it really nice right now. That's why I keep saying things
wipe
like
our feet at the door,
gee whiz,
and bring your stuff into somebody else.
But we see like 30 reindeer jump off the cliff and kill themselves. They committed suicide. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was
But
wild.
the only way that something like that could really happen in mass, right, is if it is in the water somehow, right? Like in their they eat grass. Somehow they get to it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's getting to them some kind of way. I don't know much about reindeer, but that did happen. So and if people are getting butt naked and getting Cuba Gooding Jr. and walking out into the maybe those things are connected. So that's the practical,
right?
Yeah. I don't know not if we got your thoughts on if the girl was there in the room with Navarro, and the whole pointing, and even going back to episode 1, we saw Navarro had a vision or a callback to when she was in the Marines, and that girl with the half face, we don't know what was said to her. So this idea that Navarro is almost neglecting the idea that she can tap into the supernatural, and she even says it in this scene that there's a family curse, my mom, my sister, now me. So what are your thoughts on that moment, man? Do you think that the girl was really there, and if it was a sign from the dead to try to warn Navarro?
Okay, so a few notes. I did vote, but is it okay if I get like a little bit philosophical here?
Let's get it.
Philosophize.
So let's talk about what it means for something to be real or not, right? Because there's this aspect of reality that you could configure into like what is called like the simulacra, right? And that means like if there is something that is represented as being real enough that has a cause and effect on something or someone, then it technically exists and is real, right? right? So like if you are able to see something and then it affects you to do something else, then isn't that kind of real? A little bit. A little bit. Like I think that may be where the show is going with the interpretations of like what this town is going through. Sorry, I'm like still a little bit something's been going around and yeah.
Oh,
But,
they got the black water in your neck of the
Yeah, I was
woods?
about to say,
Poison in your water?
He's been
There's
biting
something
his
in the air,
fingers.
there's something
He's
in
been
the
biting.
water.
You got some blood coming out of your ears there, man.
Yeah.
Yo, don't get butt naked and walk out around Chicago. You will die. Like you will
I'm
actually.
gonna cut
die.
my camera off, and then you're just gonna see a stack of clothes. And,
You're not gonna die because of the cold, but Chicago police will shoot you.
yeah. They'll definitely lay me out. But but what I'm trying to say is that if all of these things are starting to connect and have an effect on all of these different characters, right? There's something real as fuck going on here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just swore, but I heard all that. But my other note is when you guys were talking about Liz's daughter, like why is so? First of all, if you're a cop's daughter, you gotta be more sneaky. Yeah, I don't know how you haven't
It's
learned
like
that.
The preacher's daughter, right?
If I was
come on.
exactly, the preacher's daughter is never getting caught. The cop's daughter never getting caught. You guys gotta be a little bit more sneaky.
Mas claro.
And also, where your friends at? You got caught by yourself?
Yeah, you're the only one who got
Come
caught.
on now.
Man.
You the dumb kid in the gang that they always ditch to get caught.
Yeah, you're the jinx. You're the jinx of the Arcane series.
But that's like I did like that whole sequence just because like that's just how it is being a kid and being a parent. Sometimes it's like the kid does something really really stupid and all you want to do is just help them out, and of course they don't appreciate it. Like later on, she's like mad. I was like, "You mad because you not in jail?" Like,
yeah,
we
both were very confused. Like, you're moving out because I saved your life.
Just saved your entire future.
Well, maybe she wanted to go to jail. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, she's very rebellious.
Yeah, she wanted to get
her ass to jail.
I mean, I feel like in that, right? Like, I mean, she's a civil rights activist, and she wants to make a point. So, she wants. You know
what? Put it in the chat. Would you have gotten your daughter out of this, or would you have let your daughter go to jail? Put it in the chat because I would have let my daughter go to jail.
I might have not let her go to jail, but she would have been cleaning off that murder sting. Yeah, she would have been to learn a lesson and not violate people's properties. And you guys said it earlier. I totally agree with you that I feel like the short end of the stick right now is the Leah plot to me. Like we went from like I don't want to say 0 to 100, but when we first met her, kind of a regular teenage kid, and all of a sudden she's an activist. She's feel bad for the people in town. So I feel like there's like scenes missing with Leah to kind of build to this moment of like the Annie connection. I think on a surface level we can make the obvious connection. She is she's a part of the indigenous community. She wants to tie more to her heritage, and Liz is kind of pushing back on it, but it hasn't been really like fully fleshed out. And I think that's where the 6 episode format is kind of hurting a character like that. And even the relationship between Peter and Kyla, I feel like that relationship really hasn't hit for me. It's only 6 episodes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's normally 10, right?
I thought it was 8.
I thought it was 8.
6.
So that's right now. We thought it was 8. Wow. It's usually 10.
A little concerning.
And it's going to be 6. So to your point, since I didn't know if we was going to be able to really talk a little shop, you know what I'm saying, like a little BTS, but whenever there's that big of a cut in the amount of episodes, budget is the reason, and that usually means that it happened post script, post filming, even though they weren't.
So you think they shot it for like 8, but then they
the same thing happened to Echo. With Marvel and Disney, that they were supposed to be 8 episodes. No, it was supposed to be 10 episodes, and then went to 8. No, it was supposed to be 8 and then went to 6. Just like this one, it was supposed to be 10 and went to 6. So I think there's some parallels
was
into that.
5 episodes.
It was
Echo was 5. No, it was 5 episodes. Yeah, it was only 5.
Well, look at that. It was supposed to be 8 and it was 5. That's so like I feel like just like you just said, this episode is missing a lot to help us get to a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, these next two episodes have to be like they have to be ramped up to 100.
Yeah, and I think
I think it will be.
Yeah, based on yeah.
It's funny. I sorry, didn't not to cut you off. I remember hearing an interview with Kevin Smith recently where he was talking about like the new Masters of the Universe TV show, and Netflix had just basically told him that what our studies show that instead, like the first season was 10 episodes, people didn't like it really, but they're like, people have told us that we should cut it down to 6 episodes. Like all the studies show that we should cut it down to 6, and the critical reviews and like the audience reception has been like way more positive than it was for the first season. So maybe they just like people just realize that maybe these shows don't need to be like 10 episodes
10,
long.
12
Like
episodes long.
like maybe we need to just focus on like how long the story needs to be, and
I was
they
just
figure out a way to just crack it in a short period.
That's my thing. It's just whatever the story needs to be is what the episodes need to be. So maybe it doesn't. And also, I've heard an interview from Issa López that this was not a True Detective story. This was Night Country was the name of the show. That was a detective show with detectives, but it wasn't a true detective till later on. So I think initially
the first thing to this is the first season to have like a subtitle.
It has a subtitle,
right?
Yeah, because it was initially
Also that has to do with, we haven't talked about it yet, but Matthew McConaughey is also one of the producers on this show. I think he's one of the executive producers on this show, and I think a lot of that, what you're saying, like it got tied into the Night Country, and I think the reason that they're going into a lot of the supernatural is because of Matthew McConaughey. You know what I mean?
Time is a flat circle.
It's interesting how the show came about. But wrapping up these final 2 scenes before we get into the question that you brought up earlier with this goddess of the sea, we end with them going to the area where they find Otis. They thought it was Clark there. We have this moment here, and I guess I don't know if you guys have any thoughts, theories, moments of what this could potentially be and what it could potentially mean. But we talked about the supernatural and everything, but there's something, and someone even talked about it in the comments, don't touch the grass, don't smoke the grass, don't eat the grass, might lead to, again, we talked about cross-contamination, whatever the case may be. But this little spooky figure, spider creature, I don't know if this caught you guys' eye, if this is anything maybe I missed earlier in the season.
It looks like the mind player from Stranger Things.
It does look like, you know what? I said it looks like, I don't know if anybody is fans of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but it looked like the spider from MCP Pants episode. Because he's like, come on, man. Bring us some candy, man. How about the grass? I don't know if anybody's seen. Look, I know there's got to be somebody in the chat that's seen what I'm talking about. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, MCP Pants. But yes, this caught my eye immediately. I even went back on it on like I hit the 30 seconds back button to make sure I caught this, because this was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what, because again, I'm thinking about the drawings we've seen so far on the show. Darwin was a woman with her fingers cut off and her eyes missing. I'm gonna have to go back and watch when we went to Clark's trailer, but it was a lot of drawings in there. But the thing that did catch my eye, literally, is the eyes of this creature, because all the eyes that we've seen in the show has been very important, as far as Lund's eyes were, obviously they burnt their eyes out, but it has that blue tint to it. So I don't know if that, again, if that's talking to whatever this myth is, whatever She's Alive is, it's a physical manifestation of a creature or whatnot. So, it's something maybe we should keep, again, the eye pun, keep an eye out for it moving forward.
There's also in the season 1, there's the room that they find with all of the drawings and the craziness. I don't know if it's in that, but also I guess since Navarro is in season 3, which I have to go do research.
I'm gonna have to go back. See
I have to go back on that. But since she's in that, I wonder if there's a big spider in season 3, like now, because we've been assuming for all of these episodes that season 3 is not connected to this, but season 1 is the only one that's connected.
Right.
But if Navarro is in season 3, which allegedly, then then that means we need to go back and find out if there's anything related to this the Yellow King, the spider, the drawings, the spiral, like
Petty Gibbs just put in the chat, she's awake. And I've been very curious about like the she. Is that the goddess that you were talking about?
Yeah, I still have that in my notes to bring that up and kind of dive into that. And I think there is a conversation to be had around this potential goddess. But, speaking of the she, she being her sister at this point, Liz is chasing Otis and talks to him and gets a little bit of information on, the night country. But this scene here, kind of one of the bigger jump scares in the episode, is where Navarro chases the Christmas
this
music.
One got me.
It has got me too. But this is a callback to earlier when she told her sister, on Christmas, I celebrate Christmas trees. Let me get the presents and all that. And just literally see that in the scene here. Nah, man, your thoughts again, going back to our Bill Nye versus It's Real, It's Fake. Did she see her sister, man? Is her sister there?
Well, like, I'm more concerned about the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
What?
was that really there?
Yeah, like, why the fuck was the Christmas tree there? Like, that is so crazy. Listen, like, the thing I'm leaning back on the fact that, like, okay, so if there is this type of like mass psychosis thing going on with this town, right? Or there's something in the water, the fact that they're all experiencing the same thing makes it, or like the symbol going around, I feel like it makes it there's something real there, right? Because they can't all be seeing the same thing if there's like some hallucination, like there's something there that's linking all of these people to be seeing some of the same imagery, right? I'm going to vote right now, but for this one, I'm going to say no, she is not real. On this one, just because it just seems like a jump scare. It's something that Navarro is has been witnessing, and I think just the same as the dude the amputee that was pointing at her. I don't think, like Bill Nye wise, I don't think that is I don't think it's really there, but there is still something there.
Yeah, there's some there. I feel like I'm just gonna go against all the grain. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go against the whole grain. I think that it's there. I think it's not there. Why can't there be a Christmas tree there? It's Christmas time. Yeah. Otis lived there. Otis been there for how long? We don't even know how long. Right. How come Otis can't have no? His name Otis. He clearly celebrate Christmas. His name Otis. So why can't Otis be celebrating Christmas? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a pagan holiday.
That's valid. Yeah, why not? He go get himself.
He German is a pagan holiday.
Yeah. I mean, what did he got under the Christmas tree? What presents did Santa?
It was only one box. It was only one box.
Yeah.
And it
was
he got
a jacket. He got the jacket there, so maybe that's an early.
He got one orange and some sardines.
He gives himself the same gift every year.
So I'm going against the grain. I'm saying it's real because Otis got a Christmas tree and some high power.
She got her sister back from the dead.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think so. I think Nana even said it just right now in regards to the Navarro seeing the Holden last week. The scientific reasoning being that she slipped and fell on her head. Concussions. Side effects of that, hallucinations. In this episode, we can connect it to she got into a pretty big fight, and who's to say that she didn't have brain damage and obviously concussed.
Yeah, you're concussed.
So there could be some of that to be tied into it.
Oh yeah, she did also have a concussion. Was it episode 2 or episode 3 where she slipped on the ice?
Yeah, that's what
that could be explain why she's seeing this, and obviously she's still very upset about her sister dying. So it could be some scientific reasoning behind that. But then it goes to, again, if we are playing the supernatural game, then, we cut to this final shot, and that's her being in some type of trance. She's kind of looking at the Christmas tree, and we notice her ears are bleeding. So if we go back to the scientists, burnt eyes, ear bleeding. And one can say that her ears are bleeding because her sister screamed, literally, the death scream, if you want to call it that. But I'm thinking that we know her sister took her own life after she came across the dead, which was her mother. We heard, the scientists saw something that scared them to death. Are we assuming that this is the same path that Navarro's going to go down after she came across as dead and she has these, injuries that we saw from the scientists? Is this kind of a quote unquote death mark for Navarro?
I hope not. I really want Navarro to like make it,
Yeah.
I really want her to find peace.
Yeah, I do think that there is some connective tissue because, like, she even alluded to, like, my sister has what my mom had, and then I'm the next one who's gonna follow in line
one by one. Mm-hmm.
But I feel the same way as Nine. I do hope that she's just gonna be like the thing that helps us figure out what is going on, and we can just stop her and stop whatever is happening in time, so she doesn't end up dying.
Yo, I'm gonna start doing this on our show. I just looked it up. I'm gonna start doing this on our show.
Do what?
So apparently, spontaneous bleeding from ear, nose, throat is a rare condition called hematohidrosis, which occurs under conditions of extreme physical or emotional stress.
Oh, geez.
So, somebody can correct my pronunciation, but like fear and emotional stress, which she's literally scared. What's going on? She's been through emotional stress for 6-7 years because of Annie, and then also because of her sister passing away. And she just saw a ghost. So I think that might she just seen a Scooby-Doo type ghost type situation. I think this might qualify for an eardrum busting moment, at least according to Google. Now that's according to Google. Yeah. So I'm just trying to bog us back down into
bring it back to the science of it all.
Practicality of it all.
Bill Nye,
yeah.
My name is Bill.
Listen, we got two episodes left to see if it is more scientifically explained, which I think there's a lot of evidence, as you just mentioned, physical reasons why someone would go bleeding from the ears. But then there's also the supernatural of it all, as Nine alluded to. The spirals happens to be in this this place that they're at. So we'll find out. But to bring it all back home, we hinted at it earlier, and I guess just to have a bigger conversation to get you guys' thoughts on this. I think it's pronounced Sinna, if I'm not mistaken. And for those at home watching, you can Google it. Essentially, it's a belief within this indigenous community of this goddess who was someone that is attached to the sea. And as Nine and as you guys have brought up throughout the stream, she's awake. And obviously, as you guys can see on the screen now, this goddess is a woman. And then also Nine talked about earlier, you see the tattoos, especially on her chin. And you see in her hair, also tying back to the show, we've seen caribous, reindeers. We've seen.
Can you bring that back up? The image of the hair?
Yeah, she's connected to sea animals. So and animals in general. So tie that to the polar bears, tie that to the caribou. So, the whole she's awake might be alluding to this belief in this god as a form of, again, we talked about the Yellow King. Is this a form of like a sacrifice or a belief? If you go out in the way of the water, the sea, as we know, Travis died of the sea, Jules took her life in the sea, the water in the town obviously has some connection. So
Avatar, The Way of the Water.
Great movie.
No, I really think that. So, little bit of research that I have done about what's her name again?
Senna.
Or Senna. Maybe the D is silent.
We'll call her. Some of them they say that she also goes by names of the mother of the sea, so we can call her that as well.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna call her Ma Dukes. Ma Dukes. Ma Dukes. No, we're not gonna be disrespectful.
Yeah, I was gonna say that feels disrespectful.
Senna. We're gonna say Senna. Okay. She has a terrible father. Terrible upbringing. Her father, apparently, when she wouldn't do what he wanted her to do, he wanted to grow up, not living the life he was living. So she came up and she was like, loving other things that he wanted her not to love. So
Right.
for punishment, he cut off her fingers, and her fingers became the creatures in the ocean. As we see in the photo right here.
Huh, that's cool. I mean,
so
that's
no,
awful.
it's terrible. It's
terrible,
awful.
But you know.
And then she like disobeyed him again, and he cut off her fingers, and they became the animals on the ground. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very beautiful story. You know, if you're into like folklore and with folk tales and stuff like that, it's a beautiful story. But I feel like if this is really in the supernatural, let's go outside of the Bill Nye right now, right? Like, let's go into the supernatural theory. I think that this character or this ethereal god is, or maybe it's, this goddess is the antithesis to the Yellow King. You know what I mean? She's really only taking those who have done bad. I know that we have Annie. No, not Annie. What's Navarro's sister's name?
Julia.
Julia.
Yeah.
So Julia, like, she for some reason has some kind of connection to this entity as well. But she went into the sea.
Yeah.
You know, Travis walked out into just randomness, right?
Right. Yeah.
These scientists, they ran out into randomness, right? But Jules ran into the sea or walked into the sea.
Yeah.
So I think that it might be some ties. Annie ran towards ice something. We know that she was in the ice caves.
Well,
so it might be more. I'm just saying, just to the folklore part.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about she cut off, fingers being chopped off or whatever. Did her father also chop off her tongue? Is that something?
You know what? I did not find anything where he cut off her tongue, but I did think about that while I was listening and reading, because I was like, if he cut off her tongue, that would be a direct connection.
Can you see those?
Can
you see it now?
I can see those things.
Yeah. I was just reading. This,
I could see those things connecting though, Nine, because I had the same thought. Like, maybe her tongue being severed is some type of sacrificial thing towards it, because she was speaking against the mind.
Right. That's where the tongue came in for me.
Because she was punished for things that she was doing. So maybe this is a punishment in the same manner.
Right.
I like where this is going, man. I think, and to your point, I think there is something about how certain people, like the scientists, how they went out, and it was almost like she's alive. We awoke her. If we're alluding to this goddess, they awoke the goddess, and their punishment was that the way that they went out and the death, the way that they died, versus like someone like Jules. That was a little bit. We're hoping it was quiet, peacefully in the sea. But there is something to be said about the minds. Sciences, we're messing with the water. If we're ties into the sea goddess, she would be very upset. You're ruining my, the way of life.
Right.
So there can be something to be said about that. And I said it earlier, and again, I still have my thoughts on this. You mentioned something about cut off fingers, and I said this woman's name earlier. I don't know if you guys noticed, and you can't see it in this scene, but it is earlier in the season.
Oh, yes.
She's missing fingers.
Nice. Okay.
She's like the original abused lady, right?
Yep. She has 2 fingers missing. You can't see it in the shot, but if you go back to episode 1, you see her fingers are missing. I think there's like 2 or 3 fingers that are missing. So again, going back to this goddess, her dad cut off her fingers. There could be some potential connection.
Yeah, no, that is a great point. And I never noticed that before. And also, they mentioned in that scene that they've been having a shortage
issues with the water. Yep.
With the water, they've been having a shortage on the crab. They've been having, so that ties into the water.
Yep.
And also where did they find Otis?
Oh, and the bird. What are they
what's
called?
it called?
Yeah, what are the
The
dredges?
dredge. The dredge.
Yeah.
What are-
So
what
when
are-
they've in the
Just
dredge,
saying words.
they've mentioned on their way to the dredge that
It's
ship
beautiful and
basically was
Mm.
I think it was basically probably like an oil rig, because like we know in Alaska they do a lot of oil drilling.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there.
What is a dredge?
And
I think it's like a. I looked it up earlier. It's like a. Go look it up.
yeah, we got to
Because
pull it
it
back
seems
up.
to be
But
like something
idea.
that was like kind of like so
You said it was
exciting
something
to see when
beautiful
you were
and
a
exciting,
kid and
yeah.
beautiful and like and
Yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting to see. I just don't know what a dredge is actually.
but also I'm so
ignorant.
what I'm saying is there's been events that have happened in this town, fictitious town, by the way, and it's just a fake town. I looked it up. But there's things that have happened in this town that have led to tragedy previous to all of this stuff that may also be connected, and we might, get a lot. I mean, obviously, we're going to get a lot of questions answered really hard and really fast coming up in the future, because it's only 6 episodes, so we're going to be getting hit right in the face with a lot of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see someone in the chat say that the last episode is 2 hours long. If that's the case, then
was this episode not longer to y'all?
No, it was not. Yeah.
This
Wait, did you say the last was going to be 2 hours? You said
that's what somebody said in the chat.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't looked that up.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I can tell you how long. Hold on. I can tell you guys how long the finale is. Hold on.
But these are the dredges, huh? Because they don't look that cool, to be honest.
Well, what are they? What are they? Are they?
They're for material for water environments, possible reasons. No? Yeah, it's improving existing water features, reshaping land and water, and feature and alter drainage, commercial use for dams, and control streams and shorelines. So
very good. I'm so glad somebody looked that up. I've looked this they also
clean out the bed of the of harbors, rivers, and stuff like that.
So that's rubbish. Is that basically a direct explanation of why the water's so bad now? Is that they don't have
the things to kind of clean the water,
right?
And make sure the water.
It's topsy turvy in the middle of the frozen ocean. So I think that's a great pickup, Alex. That's a good point.
It's all in the water.
Interesting.
Don't drink the water. Dave Matthews, man, told you don't drink the water. And Billie Eilish. Since I brought up Dave Matthews, by the way, there was a great segue earlier when you took it off of something I can't remember, but that's why y'all come here. MovieFiles does the best segues in all of YouTube.
Well, thank you.
But Billie Eilish lives in our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
you got Billie Eilish. You got
dude. It's really just an artist neighborhood. It's really there's a lot of artists that live over here. That's all it really is.
So I can confirm.
They got.
I can confirm that episode 6 is 75 minutes long, which is an hour and 50 minutes. Okay. So an hour and 50 minutes is the runtime for the finale.
Okay. All right, so they do a little cut, but they giving us a movie at the end.
Yeah, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
And next week's episode is an hour and 3 minutes. So right around.
By the way, next week's episode, that's this Friday. Actually.
Yes, great point. Now, I don't know if you guys know that at home. Just let you all 71, 75. The episode will be out with Sunday, but it's coming out Friday because of the Super Bowl. So for those that are wondering if why do people know what's going on Friday? It's because the episode will be released on Friday night for the Super Bowl reasons.
Dan, good looking out because I had no idea.
They
had
put
no idea.
They did a little when they showed the trailer. They put early access for episode 5 Friday at 9 p.m.
You got any Super Bowl predictions?
Not really. But
I'm gonna go. I'm in Missouri, so I guess Kansas.
After the Lions got out, I was like,
I was about to say, I predict that the Detroit Lions will just show up.
I'm a Patriots fan. I'm a Patriots fan for the past 27 years. And so, I have nothing to root for, but go 49ers. Let's go.
Yeah, why not? We're in California.
I just want to see it. Look, Niners hadn't won a Super Bowl in what 35 years or something like that. Like, let's get them one. Let's go ahead and get them.
This will be a fun time. Well, wrapping up, gentlemen, because this has been a fun time. 171 of y'all. Final, we're gonna go round table style, and also everyone in chat. Final, and starting with you now. Final predictions for what you hope to see. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for episode 5. But any final predictions and major, I guess, anything that we didn't talk about that you want to briefly talk about for this episode before tossing it over to the brothers there.
Yeah, like, no, I'm like still very perplexed. Let's see if it is a Scooby-Doo situation and the ghosts are just completely, made up. I doubt that they're going to be all made up. I think they're going to leave some ambiguous like natures in there where we're going to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe, the ghosts are real, but let's figure out what's going on with the mining town. Let's figure out what the Tuttles are, their involvement. And let's get to the bottom of that polar bear. And also, my last thing, let's get this guy his Russian bride, and he can be on the next season of 90 Days Beyond.
If it's bride, man, get out of here with his bride. You should not be able to sex traffic a female. That's just not what should happen. Weird. Or marriage traffic, or however it works.
Yeah.
What about y'all? What final predictions, theories, or anything you guys have?
I don't have any predictions. I mean, like, because I'm so bad at just like predicting stuff. I don't know
because you don't ever do it.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'm enjoying the show so far, and like I'm excited to see how they wrap up everything. I do still feel like everything is can be explained and is all going to be practical at the end. Maybe we'll leave a couple of things ambiguous, but yeah, the show's done an awesome job of like walking that line so far, and and the main characters have been great. Like Navarro and Danvers have been awesome. Yeah. So I'm just excited to see them grow a bigger connection and get to the bottom of what's going on out here.
Yeah, Callie Reis. Yeah, Callie Reis. She has, man. You're going up. Look, there are times where she is killing it, and there are times where I feel like, oh man, she kind of slipped off. But she is sitting in the presence of Jodie Foster, right? Like. Possibly the greatest child actress of all time, right? I mean, honestly, possibly the greatest child actress.
I think she did a phenomenal job this episode.
There are a couple other child actresses. There are a couple other ones, but she's in the top 3, top 5. So yeah, I feel like theory wise, man. I think that this is a cabal, right? Like there's a bunch of guys who are involved, and it's all guys, and it's all I think there's one female, which is the lady who owns everything.
Kate.
Yeah. And then I think Hank, Kate, and who's the other dude? Oh, the other chief,
Doctor Who. Yeah.
Oh, Captain Conley,
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
I feel like those guys are our main suspects. I think that what's his name that went to Oliver. I think Oliver is a red herring as well. Like he's somebody who could be a suspect, but it's because he's brown, right? Like he's brown. Clearly, we're going to divert. We got a German guy. People can go towards him like, oh, what's he doing over here? What are he even doing out here? So I think those are the red flags, the red herrings. But I think that just like in season 1 and in season 3, we get down to the nitty gritty. It's this cabal of white people who are doing these completely nefarious sexual misconduct-ish type stuff.
Girl with the dragon tattoo type stuff.
Girl with, man, you know what?
Yeah, Girl Who Play with Fire, whichever one.
Girl Who Play with Fire,
they're all
Skull Society, whatever you want to do, Illuminati, all of that.
Yeah.
All wrapped
That
into
movie
one.
with the evil white people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the one.
Lovecraft Country. That's actually
Right, yeah.
the better example. Like Lovecraft Country is very similar to this show, in my opinion. Like, except this is dealing
Except
with
that
law
Definitely
enforcement.
supernatural. Yeah.
I would
This
say
is
it
dealing with
definitely
more
leans
law
into supernatural for sure.
Yeah.
Right. This is more law enforcement wise, and then the other one is more supernatural.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so I've seen the trailer for episode 5 before going live. From what I got from the trailer, we're definitely going to get there's a protest going on next week, and Leah's involved from the trailer. There's also a conversation being had that Liz needs to drop the case. The case is closed. So apparently they figure out what happened to the scientists because their bodies are in Anchorage and they get the actual results of their autopsies. So that's going to be something revealed. And it looks like, and this is just my little theory, just based on a trailer. By the way, I'm doing a trailer breakdown coming out tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. But it seems like Navarro might not be part of the police force anymore. Based on some scenes with her out of uniform, and also just based on this episode alone, she did get into a fight. And if those guys aren't dead, it's safe to assume they probably would report her for causing a fight. And also, too, apparently she's going to help Leah out in the protests. She's going to save Leah in this protest. So maybe, again, crossing the line and people in the police force might get upset by that and might have her hand in her badge. So it looks like the case might be off for now, but we got one episode left. I would imagine, as we talked about earlier, there's going to be something that's going to really push Liz to getting back on track, because again, it seems like from the trailer, she's going to listen to the orders, close the case, but she's going to get wrapped back in. And I don't know if that's going to be because something happens to Leah. If something happens within the police force, as we talked about, a la Peter, her kind of Minty, she's a mentor to him. Maybe something happens to him. Maybe something happens to Hank. But nonetheless, I think we're going to get some big reveals hopefully next week involving the mines. And,
it's not True Detective unless someone goes rogue.
There you go.
I do have a question, but I'm gonna save it till off pod because I have a question about Pryor. And I'm gonna ask it all.
Okay. Before wrapping up, one last roundtable question: favorite scene, and I think you guys alluded to like favorite character, which Navarro, she brought her A game with the emotional depths that she played in. But do you guys have a favorite scene? And also let everyone in the chat let us know what your favorite scene is. But you guys have a favorite scene in this episode that really stood out to you?
I mean, Hank at the airport, that's kind of perfect. it's hilarious and sad all at once. It's wonderful.
I hate to say it because he stole mine. But I always love it when Reddit theories are debunked. And Liz listening to just because you stole mine, Liz listening to the white noise. A lot of theories online were that was like something that was happening exterior, like non-diegenic type sound. But I'm glad that they showed that it's just what she uses to study. Every iPhone has it, by the way, guys.
It's a way to focus.
It's a way to focus.
Go to sleep.
I mean, it's not a weird thing. It's not weird. And because they showed it in this one where she had the white noise by her.
And by the way, just a quick little production. I don't know if you guys noticed the HBO logo has that white noise, and it transitioned right.
It does.
That white noise. It's like a really nice.
HBO. Max.
No, it's home box office.
Yeah,
home box office.
I mean, Navarro just beating them motherfuckers' asses like that. That shit was cool.
She did get beat up, but she
did get beat up. But like, also, she did. Yeah, for a second, I was like, "Oh, is she about to like actually take?" No, they're going to put it in some realm of realism, which I actually appreciate. And then, like, my second favorite scene is her dude. Her dude is like the best character on the show.
Yeah,
I would say Joe has been bringing his name up. Kavik.
Kavik.
Yeah. He seems to be a good guy. So
And
far,
then
watching you
he
be
like
revealed
was
to be the
like
killer.
when he was like, "Oh, I just
trying to
thought," and the judge gets down and he just
cracked her finger.
snap, just set it back in
Yo,
place. That was,
I would have
I
cussed
was
his
like,
ass out too, man. I've had my finger, literally my 5th metacarpal. I've had it pop back into place from the same type of boxer fracture that she had.
But like
That
the
dude-
emotional up and down of that, I was just like, is he
that was
really
beautiful.
going to try to propose to her as she's
Yeah,
like
I'm like,
missing
yeah.
a tooth and like
It's-
beat
It was
the fuck
beautiful.
up? And then he's just like, I don't like it.
Her
It was a
performance
very-
in that moment was great too. Like she was,
It was a very,
very honest reaction.
It was a very Mr. and Mr. Smith type of scene.
Yeah, and
So check that out because it's gonna be right here on this channel. Y'all better check that out. That review.
Yes, sir. And you know what? Perfect segue. Let's go ahead and do our roundtables of where people can find content. What's the next bit of content ready for the people? So starting with you guys, man. Why don't you let? And by the way, thank you for coming on tonight. Very excited to see you guys' commentary on Mr. and Mrs. Smith because I thought that was a fantastic show. But again, tossing to you all first, and then we'll toss it to Nine. Where can people find you guys? What's next on the channel?
No, thanks for having us on. I'll say that first, and I'm really excited to finish up Mr. and Mrs. Smith so I could watch your reviews. Because I saw that you had some reviews on the ending.
We're about on episode 6 right now.
Yeah, we're finishing up right now, but you guys can find us on our YouTube channel, The Drunk Banthas. You can also listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts for as long as that's existing. Apparently that's going away soon. We got some new content. We have our podcast every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And I got a review. We do video analysis every once in a while, and we have a video essay on Aquaman and just like the DC universe, the Snyderverse, coming out pretty soon. Just look out for that. Oh, and we also have a show, Does It Hold Up, where we talk about older genre films to see if they're as good or as bad as we remember. And we always have a guest on to help us vote at the end how good that is.
Have to have a tiebreaker, man. There's only 2 of us.
And that comes out every other week, so guys can check that out.
Yes, sir. I mean, he broke it all the way down. I was gonna say something, but I can't really. There's nothing else to say.
So and again, guys, once this video is uploaded, I'm gonna have their link in the description so you guys can check it out. Nine, man, tossing it to you, my friend. Good to see you as always.
Subscribe button. Yeah, man, it's so great. I love it when you do lives because again, the comment section, the audience is so brilliant, always has insightful things. But you can find me on Nine Nerd Yards. That is my channel right there. A lot of Atlanta content, a lot of breakdowns, breaking down Swarm, Icon Type, Roan, and also the newest video is the Atlanta Iceberg, but also been throwing up some interviews with some production designers on some of our favorite shows. Part of a week of, it's called the International Production Design Week. So if you are interested in one of the greater film industry and the work that goes behind that, check out the interview with Cindy and Michelle. They worked on the Black Lady sketch show. They have worked on YouTube Rewinds, which is pretty hilarious. But also the other channel where we go live is Nerds at Night. We're around 700 subscribers. You'll see me there. You'll see all of the other people that have recently. Yep, that's exactly it. Yeah, I've seen everyone that has recently been on Nine Nerd Yards, and including the brothers of the Drunk Banthas. And we're trying to just get to 1,000, and we talk about it's more of a sandbox. We talk about a lot of different stuff. My next video is still going to be Atlanta based, but I'm also working on a Mr. and Mrs. Smith video, and that's actually about the original. Because a lot of people are like, oh, they shouldn't have made Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They shouldn't have remade it. Man, Mr. and Mrs. Smith 2005 or 2006 is not as good as you guys remember it or trying to claim that it is. It definitely deserved a remake. So, keep your eyes out. Tune in. Would appreciate you. My information will be right below the like and subscribe button.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen that original, but I was never like diehard fan of that. I just, I was
I think
Brad
it's like
Angelina.
the Gossip or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's
No,
when
you're
they
right.
got
Like
together.
went
Yeah,
around
that's
that,
when
like
they-
kind of
yeah,
hypes
yeah.
it up.
Not
or
enough
whatever.
black people. Not enough black people. I'm just gonna say it right now. That's what I'm gonna say. Not a great movie. I love everybody in it, and everybody does a good job in it, but not a great movie.
It's kind of a ridiculous movie.
But
whatever.
I am going to see that. I can't wait for that little breakdown right there.
Yeah, it should be dope. It should be dope. Looking forward to it. And as far as things on the channel here, guys, not only did we have this awesome discussion, but also have the individual episode breakdown on the channel now. Tomorrow morning, keep an eye out for a trailer breakdown for the latest trailer for the next episode. And this is a quiet week for my movie fans. There's no screeners that I have lined up for the week, but the following week, we got Madam Web, we got a bunch of other stuff coming out. Dune, I will be seeing Dune sooner rather than later, which I'm most anticipated film of the century for me, Dune Part 2. So keep an eye out for all that stuff. Cannot wait, bro. But again, as Nine pointed out earlier, for my True Detective fans, just a friendly reminder that the episode 5 will be available this Friday, early access because of the Super Bowl being on Sunday. One last thing before we wrap up, Super Bowl movie fans over here, any trailer you guys are looking forward to for the Super Bowl? Apparently Deadpool 3 is supposed to have a trailer. Planet of the Apes probably is going to have a trailer. And there might be some surprise other stuff. Do you guys have anything? Fully do Joker 2 might have a trailer. Any trailers you guys are looking forward to?
Nah, you go first.
Sunday?
You go ahead, Don.
I mean, I wasn't expecting the trailer talk, but yeah, all of those sound fire. I love the Planet of the Apes movies, and yeah, like I'm not really hipped on what's coming out this year, so it's going to be an experience.
No, I haven't bothered to look at what's going on this year, but I will say this. We have at the Drunk Banthas been focused on the commercials that are going to be coming out at the Super Bowl, which are trailers are commercials, right? Like
commercials.
But I'm looking most forward to this Geico commercial that's building up. They've been building up with the Geico
Arnold, right? The Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of
them. No, that's State Farm.
Oh yeah,
State Farm. Okay.
Insurance. But we've been building up to this Geico commercial for the caveman, and I told Alex 3 months ago there's gonna be a huge like resurgence for the caveman, because that was the first. That was the first
viral
Geico. Well, no, it was the first Geico commercial. Period. It's so easy a caveman can do it. So now I think they're gonna bring him back, and there's gonna be like a beef between the lizard and the caveman. I don't know. Just look out for that.
Okay, you're so excited about the lore that's about to be dropped.
It's not me. It's the commercials. They got commercials that are actually building up to it right now. I know there's somebody out here who knows what I'm talking about. Film Age knows what I'm talking about right now.
Well, I look forward to you guys' coverage on the full breakdowns of all the people.
We're gonna do a coverage, commercial breakdown. All the commercials will be broken down.
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos who doesn't like actually watch trailers. Like I'm a big enough nerd where like if I like the director, I like the actors, I like the
don't need to see
writer.
anything. I'm already sold.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Just take my money. Shut up and take my money.
Yep.
Like,
Can I ask you one more question, MovieFiles? Because we already talked about this with the Drunk Banthas on Nerds at Night. Well, I mean, the Grammys are probably done by now. Who knows? But for the Oscars, what's your best picture choice?
The winner?
Yeah.
Oh, Oppenheimer. I think it's Oppenheimer or The Holdovers, based on the momentum that they've been having for the other.
Is that your personal choice, or just who you think that's going to win?
Personal choice is Oppenheimer, and I think the one that's going to win is Oppenheimer. But I can see if Oppenheimer doesn't win, because I also see Christopher Nolan getting Best Director, and sometimes the Oscar we'll give him the Best Director, but we'll give the movie to someone else. And I think that might happen, or it could be he gets Best Director and gets Best Picture. But
Mhm.
it's definitely
Wow.
Nolan's year.
That would be
Okay.
crazy.
Deservedly so.
I
Deservedly
would
so.
say so. I would say so too, as well.
Yeah.
I hope both of those happen, like Best Director and Best Film. I hope that happens.
That'd be great.
That would
Yeah,
be
obviously definitely gonna have a big night. I feel like
big
Yeah.
night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not as big as the Drunkies though. That's
Well, speaking of big night, this was a fun, awesome, funny, very informative night. And if you ask me, I had a good time with you guys. So if y'all had a good time watching at home, again, before you exit this video, thumbs up. Those watching the replay, thumbs up. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I always try to get back to them as soon as I can. But more importantly, once this video is uploaded, both of these incredible YouTube channels will be, you can find their channels in the description. Check them out, subscribe, and be entertained, because everyone, the Banthas, everyone was entertaining tonight. So I appreciate you all being with me tonight. So with that being said, y'all be safe. And if we learn anything about the show, just don't drink the water. That's our little tip for you guys. With that being said,
that's
we'll
some Brita filters.
exactly.
All right.
But we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.